Talk Show. Recorded live.
Welcome to the Lost Lowdown Podcast number 51 with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
We are back from the longest break ever, part 2.
Part 2?
Well, you know, the first big break between season 3 and season 4.
Oh.
So we just went through another long
I see. Yeah.
break
right.
of Lost.
Yeah, that's true. But I think didn't we do some podcasts between season 3 and 4?
Probably. We were probably ambitious back then.
I think we did a couple. This time
I think we did some little things.
We
this
did.
Time,
Yeah, there wasn't that much really to podcast about. Like, I read a little bit about what happened at Comic-Con, and it was just kind of who cares. And,
there wasn't any crazy stuff.
And yeah, we had that orchid thing. That was something we podcast. Oh, and we also had the Mobisodes.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, that period between season 3 and 4 had a little bit more content. So
yeah,
this time pretty much nothing.
I'm sure we had all kinds of lofty goals of things to do over the break that
we did.
Never actually got done.
Go listen to the end of the last podcast to hear what we were planning to do.
Yeah, don't do that.
Or not.
Yeah, let's not and say we didn't.
Okay.
So yeah, we're talking about episode 501 and 502, Because You Left and The Lie, respectively. Maybe you left because of the lie. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. So
I don't think that's it, actually.
Yeah, probably not. You can't just string together the titles
No.
and formulate, like, stuff? Okay. All right.
No.
So yeah, Justin and I were just talking about the fact that, you know, this is obviously, you know, a sort of a 2-episode premiere, and it's sort of a double whammy, you know, a lot to handle jumping back into it. So we'll see how this podcast goes. I'm sure it'll be as effortless and awesome and error-free as it always is.
Yes,
if
I have no
means
doubt
anything.
about that.
Yeah, not sure I really said anything there.
I'm as confident and sure of myself as I always am.
There you go. This podcast will be as funny and entertaining as it always is. Any other meaningless declarations we can make?
That's a good start. We certainly should make more, though.
We should come up with some more. We're gonna entertain our listeners just as well as we always do.
Yeah. We're gonna get as many theories right as we always do.
There we go. Nice. We're gonna do our best to you know, limit the tangents as much as we always do.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're gonna look up as many places on the map as we always do.
We're gonna kill as much time as we always do, as we're doing right now.
We're gonna stay on the topic of Lost as much as we always do.
Yeah, there we go. So you're gonna cover the first episode.
Wrong. There we go. Okay. Error number 1.
Error number 1. Always reminds me of the that Simpsons episode when they go to the Krusty Land and they're flying in a helicopter and the pilot says, you know, nothing to worry about. Nothing can possibly go wrong. That's the first thing that's ever gone wrong. Love that. Classic Simpsons.
It's definitely classic. Good stuff. Want to tell us some more Simpsons quotes?
Yeah. So the thing that Bart said in season 44, yeah. So what did you think of,
You know what we usually do?
Oh, what do we do? I don't just ask you what you think?
Actually, I don't remember. Do we do... Okay. We usually talk about the titles, and we talk about the general reaction. I don't remember the order. I don't remember the order we used to do, though. Whether we did the
titles first.
Did we do the titles first and then general reaction?
Not much to say about titles.
Yeah, the titles are as obvious and boring as they always are.
Nice. Zing. I think we might be using that phrase all throughout this podcast.
Yeah.
It's perfect for coming back to something.
It is, yeah. It's a good theme.
So the title, Because You Left, and the lie, I mean, they're just really not creative, just dead on, just like whatever.
Yeah,
nothing really there.
I wasn't quite sure. The lie, I thought was, I knew what that meant before I even watched either episode. Because You Left, I wasn't quite sure what they were referring to, but then when they said it in the episode, it was like, oh, okay, well, I figured it was something like that.
It's always great when they say the titular line, so.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's always good to say titular line as well.
Next stop, Eggtown. Remember that line?
Oh, God. Oh, that reminds me. Do you know what next week's episode is called?
I actually accidentally saw it, and I was like, oh, crap, I just spoiled myself. Oh, I don't care. But now I don't remember.
Maybe we should save that for the end of the podcast.
Save it for the end. I do remember we try to limit spoilers.
Yeah,
we'll be as spoiler-free as we always are.
It's just, next week's reminds me of Eggtown. Anyway,
right.
We'll talk about that later.
If we remember, we'll talk about that.
So, yeah, who cares about the titles? What about general, what do you think about the episode?
Okay, so overall, I was a little unimpressed. I don't know. There's a couple things I didn't really like. I mean, overall it was good. I mean, overall it was, entertaining. The story is going on. A couple more mysteries. Some stuff people don't know what's going on. Blah blah blah. Usual Lost. But there were some parts, some little character things, and some scenes that I thought were pretty crappy, though. I was like, really, guys, for a premiere, we're going to get this?
Mm-hmm.
But overall, if I had to rate it, B minus.
B minus?
B minus.
Okay.
What do you think?
For sort of both of them together, I mean, did you like one more than the other?
They kind of ran together because I watched them together.
Yeah.
And I was really happy that the second episode was, there and readily available because how the first one ended. I'm like,
right. You
guys have better given me another thing to watch after you're going to end it like that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to Oxford.
Yeah, I know. We were supposed to sit on that for a week.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. You guys, man, I'm glad you gave us the second one. Otherwise, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, the second episode has a way better ending.
Yeah, definitely. I really can't separate them, so I'm just kind of grouping them together.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I think from now on, I mean, just because whoever decided to show them together, I don't know how it happened, but because of this, they're just like one episode to me. They're
totally one episode.
Like, I think I'm always going to think of them that way. And it's just because they decided to show them together. But it was good to have another one to watch, and I don't know. It's a lot more than we usually get. So.
Oh, totally.
So that's why I kind of, there are some scenes that are crappy. I have to agree, but I liked it. I mean, it was intense. The show is different. I mean, once again, like, it's changed. It just doesn't feel like season 4 or like any of the other seasons.
That reminds me.
It's taken on a different, like, season 4 felt crazy. This feels crazier. Like, it's it's just gone. Sometimes I feel like it's gone off the rails, and like, what the fuck are we watching now?
I would agree that it's gone off the rails in the sense that, like, when they get into a bit about, what happened when the island moved and all that and the time traveling, I'm like, really, guys? Like, you guys are going down a path that I didn't even think you guys would even go down.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff that they're claiming and the rules and stuff, I'm like, you guys, this can't even work. Like, seriously? But that reminds me, I wanted to bring up the fact that, just to the audience, that you went back and watched season 4 again right before season 5 premiered. So you are refreshed on that. I, on the other hand, did not. So I will be representing the audience members who don't remember what the hell happened in season 4, and you can represent the ones who do. And I think that'll be good for the podcast, because I'll be like, why did why does Kate have Aaron?
Yeah.
What's that about? That's not her mom.
I'm not quite sure I can answer that, but they that for your segment of the audience's benefit, they did play nice clips from the finale during the episodes.
Yeah, totally.
So that was weird. It was weird for me because I actually finished watching the finale and immediately went into watching these episodes. So it was really fresh in my mind what had just happened. And when they started talking about it and playing clips, it was like, yeah, I know, I just watched it.
Yeah, that guy just saw it. Thanks.
Yeah, and I had to remember that they're playing to an audience that hasn't necessarily seen it since May.
The Claude audience,
the Claude
if you
audience,
will.
Exactly.
The Claudians.
The Claudians. Perfect. The season 4 was pretty good. I recommend it to anyone who's interested in watching it. It definitely had its missteps, but on the whole, I mean, I think it was a much more solid season than any of the others. It didn't meander nearly as much as any of the others, mainly just because it's shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So it really flies
I think
by.
And I think that's probably a testament to the deal they struck with ABC and the whole idea of, having the smaller episodes and, less filler, and that seemed to have worked out. They were able to stay sort of on topic, as it were.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what there it is, as it were. Maybe I do say that all the time.
Apparently so. I didn't even catch it.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
yeah.
You say it and I'm not even listening.
Wow.
Now I get it. Now I get it.
All right. Please. What was the other one?
Seemingly.
Seemingly, as it were. Please. Those who want to know what we're talking about can go visit our forum at tllld.net.
Yes, please do. I recommend that you go there rather than any other thing.
Rather than any other thing you can recommend,
yeah.
You recommend they go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, what I meant was rather than like the email address or whatever. I can't say I recommend the email address anymore.
Why? We don't promptly respond to all emails?
Not exactly. I just checked it and yeah.
Are there some, maybe we should pause the podcast and go respond to some emails. Is that what you're saying?
No, I wouldn't. I would never say that. I'm just saying, if you want to email us, there's the forum.
If you want to email us, please visit the forum and don't email us.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Noted.
All right. So yeah, the forum. It's good stuff. We all recommend it.
It is the place to be.
Yeah, definitely. It's the hottest place on the internet.
It is the hub of all of the internet, I believe.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure that's what it is.
So
okay, I'm gonna from watching it again, I do think episode 1 is a little bit more solid than episode 2. I feel like more of the things I don't like were in episode 2. But overall, I probably give it a B+.
B+. All right.
Yeah. Because I did like it. The thing that was weird, that's what I was going to say. The difference, the big difference for me, and I think also one of the reasons why it's hard to tell them apart is that the episodes aren't following the normal format anymore. They're not focusing on one character and doing a flashback or a flash forward, I guess, more recently.
Good point.
So they don't have that like sort of personalized vibe that the show normally has, where each character gets their own episode. I mean, they're both all over the place.
Yeah, they are all over the place.
And I think that's, I don't know, I think that affects the show. I think that makes it a different thing to watch.
Well, they're all in transition. They're all trying to get somewhere or to something or find something or whatever. Everyone's kind of in a transition thing, so it kind of makes sense that they're all over the place.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, we wondered last season what they were going to do, and clearly what they decided to do is really to just abandon the format and just follow them as things go on simultaneously, or whatever that even means on this show.
Concurrently,
yeah.
I don't know. There's something.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, okay. Anyway, I think that's all I got.
All right. Well, we're gonna jump into our review here, I guess.
Yeah.
And you have the reins.
I do. It's gonna be me for episode 1. So brace yourselves. Here we go. So let's see. Where am I? Okay. So at the beginning of the episode, we see a clock on a table. It turns over to 8:15, and the alarm goes off. It's a man and a woman, and they're in bed, and then a baby cries, and the woman says, "It's your turn." And so the man gets up and puts on a record. He picks up the baby, takes a shower, shaves, and dresses. The record skips, so he stops it. Then he goes outside, and we see he's in the barracks. And then he walks into one of the buildings where they're shooting an orientation video for the Aero Station, and the man is none other than Dr. Marvin Candle, who is apparently actually named Pierre Chang. And so that's surprise. And then the state. Okay, so then he doesn't need a script, and he just sits down and he's ready to film right away. And he goes into the orientation video. He says that the purpose of the Aero Station was developing defensive strategies and gathering intelligence on the island's indigenous population. And then a man comes in and interrupts and says they have a problem at the Orchid. And then we go into, I guess I'll keep going here. They go to the Orchid in a van, one of the famous vans. Another man in the Orchid. The Orchid's being constructed, and this other guy meets him and says that when they were drilling, the drill melted. He shows Candle an image of what is behind the rock, and we see the donkey wheel from the season 4 finale. Candle tells him not to drill anymore. They are building the station so they can manipulate time, but there are rules, and they can't risk releasing the energy. As Candle leaves, he bumps into another man, who is Daniel Faraday.
WTF!
What the fuck? And then, so that's it.
All right.
For this scene/pair scenes / triple
sequence, if you will.
Yeah, there you go. It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing.
Watching, the way they do this all the time. They did it at the beginning of this episode. They do it in the beginning of the next episode. They do it in the beginning of a scene. They never want to. They wait till the last possible moment to show us who the character is in the scene.
They did this at the beginning of season 4 with the car chase. They did this at the beginning of season 3 with Juliet. They did this at the beginning of season 2 with Desmond.
At a certain point, it's like, find a new gimmick, guys.
Yeah.
Because it just becomes a guessing game. Oh, who is this guy? At first I thought, is it Ben? Is this a flashback? And this is baby Danielle, and this is some woman who, not Danielle. Baby Alex.
What did you mean? Okay.
You're like,
Baby, I was like, okay, well, that's a theory. Baby Danielle.
No, I thought, oh, maybe this is Ben, and this is, this is Danielle, and I did it again. This is Alex, and, whatever.
You mean the French
figured
woman?
out.
Sorry.
Yeah. You know,
season 4.
Once yeah. Once he leaves and we see him sort of outside in the barracks and we realize, you know, of course we're on the island.
Yeah.
I could kind of tell it was Waxman, Candle, whatever his name is. Chang, I guess we should call
Pierre
him now.
Chang. Yeah.
So the beginning was weird, you know, the way he walks in and he doesn't need a script, and you're thinking, oh, what is this? Is this the proof that they're just making up all this stuff? You know, they got scripts and a camera crew, and you know, we're seeing them actually film these things, which you know, we never saw before.
It's been shrouded in mystery.
Didn't think it was such a sort of
mundane process.
Well, not mundane process, but just I would say, you know, professional production. Like it's they had the right equipment and they had a whole bunch of people, and it wasn't just like a guy with a camera. It was a real, you know, film set. Yeah. Didn't kind of expect that. But yeah, it was interesting. You know, the script is not necessarily, you know, stuff he's making up, just what I guess he was going to say, but he already knew it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely he should know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems to be in charge of a lot of things.
Mhm. Yeah, apparently.
And another thing that, you know, the more we see of Dharma, the more I'm just amazed at how normal they are.
Yeah.
Everything they do is you know, well, some of the things they do is just so normal. Like, it's so weird to see, you know, them actually building, you know, the stations. And here's the construction crew like you would expect, right?
That's what it was.
Nothing crazy, just some guys who know how to build stuff.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
You know, not knowing exactly what it was like, and I guess this is what it was like.
Yeah, just some guys.
They set in a construction crew, and they built it.
Yeah.
The end.
What's crazy about that, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing.
I don't know. Yeah, you know, the first orientation video, the really, I think the best one was really creepy. It had that music at the beginning, and it just seemed like I really didn't imagine it being put together in this very dull way. Like he's using these aliases. I still don't get why he's doing that.
Still doesn't make sense why he's doing that.
I really, it seemed really cool for a while, and now it's just like, what's the point? Like I don't even care why he's doing that. It just seems like it can't matter that much. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, you know, he's got these scripts. It seems like he's for whatever reason presented as a character in each of these videos. Why, you know?
Yeah.
It seems like he's really important. It seems like a lot of people know who he really is.
Yeah.
You know, it goes back to, you know, seemingly again. That you know, the people who were watching this were sort of isolated from you know, the knowledge of who he was. Although, of course, like we brought up before, you know, you see him when you first come to the island and you get inoculated, and that whole sort of process. He's on the TV, so it's like you see him anyway. But nevertheless,
yeah, we talked about it. Like if people talk to each other, then it seems like they could figure out that, you know, and he's just walking around in the barracks. I mean, the people who are there, I mean, they seem to know who he is. Some of them, at least, even pretty like low-level people know who he is. So, you know, what's the big deal? I don't know. It's really weird.
It's a little strange, but it seems like the people that they were recruiting for. I mean, I would imagine the people they were recruiting for, you know, who would be watching these, aren't necessarily part of the regular Dharma force or crew or whatever, you know. These are people who are maybe new or I don't know. It's definitely strange.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we learn he's married and he has a kid. There's always babies on this show.
Oh, so many babies.
Babies are great, but do we have to have them on every TV show and every scene?
We do. Not only do they have to be on every show, every character has to have a baby. Or be near a baby, know someone with a baby.
I think right now, half of the characters on Lost have a baby.
Yeah.
I think I've counted. I think it's half now.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'm not going to check it, but I'm sure you're right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What else with this?
I was gonna say. So here we learn what the arrow was for. That was kind of news.
I thought we already knew what it was for. It was for storage.
Well, yeah, exactly.
How long were we using that theory? Man, I had put that one to bed. I'm like, oh, they just stored stuff in there.
So did
whatever.
I mean, yeah, I thought it was settled and it was just a storage closet. But it did seem odd to have a place called the Arrow that's a storage closet. So apparently it was once operational, and you know, was sort of this defense intelligence place. So it wasn't about studying anything. It was really just about, like, you know, defending from the others.
Well, I thought it was to study the others and learn how to defend against them.
Yeah, I
Something
guess
like
so.
that.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like it was part of the scientific study of the island.
Yeah, it seemed like it was more like the flame or something, just more of a utilitarian sort of, this is what we need for operation kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
so that was a thing.
So that was a thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up the transcript here. So the next big part, so this, he's doing an orientation film for the Arrow, station number 2. Blah, blah, blah. So he goes down to the Orchid. I don't really understand what's going on here other than they're trying to, you know, sort of get, I guess, as close as possible to this energy source. He lost the drill bits and all that. And there's the guy who sort of, it looks like he's having the effects of the little, you know, going through the barrier the wrong way or something.
Oh, yeah.
He looks, you know, discombobulated and nose is bleeding and all that stuff. So whatever's happening with him, I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so weird. You know, he tells this construction guy, the foreman, I guess, or whoever this guy is, you know, all of this energy's here. We're trying to do time travel, and the guy's like, you know, later he tells Dan, like, how stupid does this guy think we are? And it's like, because, you know, we were, I think, you know, along the lines of the discussion of who built, you know, the stations and stuff, and how do you keep it secret and all this stuff. Well, apparently you don't have to keep things secret because the people who are building it just won't believe you.
Yeah.
So, you know, this guy isn't going to go home and tell his wife, you know, hey, guess what they're doing? He's just going to be like, those people are crazy, you know, and that's it.
Yeah, I guess that's the answer. They freely tell them what they're doing with it, and they just laugh it off, and that's it.
Yeah, it's so strange to, you know, especially considering this guy obviously didn't know that. He wasn't part of, you know, the sort of on the same page. You know, you would think, you know, before we thought everyone in Dharma would kind of know what's going on. And as, you know, as we get to know more about them, we realize that, you know, only certain people know certain things, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy had no idea why they were drilling there or doing any of this stuff. And then he tells them and he doesn't believe him.
Yeah.
Which is strange. If somebody did that to me, you know, like my drill bit just melted and like all this weird stuff and this guy who's, you know, a scientist or whatever is, you know, I don't know. I would at least, I don't know. That was the first line that I did not like of this episode because I was just like, really? He's going to say that, you know? It's one thing to be, you know, to find it incredulous. It's another thing to like not, I don't know.
So which line are you referring to?
How stupid does this guy think we are?
Oh, okay.
Like, he just totally didn't believe the time travel thing, which I thought was weird.
Okay.
But anyway, I guess it's crazy. It's time travel. So Dan's here.
Yeah, it's Dan. Ah!
Yeah. So let's talk about that. I'm a little weary about this. I'm trying to figure out, this is, I mean, obviously before the Orchid is done being built. So this was a while ago. Why is Dan on the island now?
So my guess is that this is I don't even know what you call it, flash other time, where we're just seeing that at some point when, we later find out that the people we know on the island are going through various time periods on the island.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm guessing that at some point, Daniel manages to weasel his way into the Orchid construction crew for some reason, and that's why he's there. That's my best guess.
Oh, what? You think he's there because of when Ben moved the island and everyone's time traveling thing?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. That's a good theory, though. That's not what I thought.
Okay. Well, what did you think?
I just thought, from having, because in the past he talks to Desmond, right? Desmond comes and visits him in Oxford and tells him all that stuff and does the whole thing. We all know that.
Yeah. We all saw The Constant.
Yeah. So great episode, right?
Great. Such a the greatest episode.
Just don't watch it more than once. So I assume that, because of this, Dan, wants to get to the island for whatever reason, and he's just there because, he gets there somehow. He joins the construction crew or something, in a regular timeline, and gets on the island, and then at some point, leaves, and then at some later point joins up with, Naomi and all those guys and comes back to the island. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Tell me why that doesn't make sense.
Because this is like more than 20 years ago. I mean, he's not even that old. Like,
it is a very long time ago. This is a
really long time ago because, Dharma's like building things, and this has got to be, as a latest, like the early 80s. So there's just no way. I mean, if he were there, he would look a lot younger than that.
Is there any way they could have built the Orchid Station later?
I guess
when was the Purge, I guess, is the question.
But, yeah, the Purge...
I forget. It was like early 90s?
Yeah, we figured it out. Yeah, sometime in the 90s. Sometime in the early 90s.
And then Desmond visited him in 94, 96?
It was 96, I think.
96. So this is probably after the Purge. So my theory probably does not make any sense. I'll go with your theory then, because that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
That's just a little, I guess, foreshadowing to the big revelation of what's going on with these guys.
Yeah, it's sort of a preview. Like, I feel like it's telling us that at some point they will decide to try to infiltrate. They'll go to that time and they'll decide to infiltrate Dharma for to figure out something in order to help them deal with the situation. Since apparently, the thing that caused this to happen was Ben turning that wheel, and that's where he is. So
it's just weird to me. There's a lot of problems with this time traveling thing.
Oh, don't even. Oh God, I know.
Confounded by their rule that you cannot change the past.
That's right. You can't
correct me if I'm wrong. In the quote original timeline, Chang did not bump into Dan and tell him to watch himself.
You're right, but it doesn't matter. Exactly the same. Everything will happen except that, and everything else that Dan changes, but doesn't really change anything. Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all.
That's the thing. It's like, it doesn't. You cannot change the past, but you can, but you won't because you can't, but you can.
Yeah, you can change it, but not much, but kind of a lot, but not too much.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, they absolutely want it both ways.
They absolutely do. Yeah. Here's the very little detail of, if you're telling me I can't change the past, and we're all the time that they're time traveling on the island, they're walking around, and at the very least they're stepping on plants and insects. And it's like you can't. How does the universe or time fix that or make that not happen? You're changing it by being in the way of air molecules.
Breathing.
That's
breathing. Changing,
everything they're doing
changing
is
oxygen into CO2. You're having an effect just by standing there.
The only thing that, and we'll obviously get to more in this later, but the sort of leeway that I give them is maybe when they're in one time period and they step on leaves or they sort of change things. Once they go to another time period, the things that they did were sort of erased, like they were kind of never there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can imagine is really happening to keep in line with what they're saying. Because,
although, one of the plot points in this episode is that not happening.
You're talking about the Locke thing?
I'm talking about the Dan Desmond thing.
Okay, well that's a separate case.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's when Dan breaks his own rule and somehow he realizes that can happen. That's a special case.
After a long speech about how you can't do that.
He realizes how you can.
Yeah, you're right. They're trying to make that work. But I think they want both. They want the fun of being able to play around in the past and in the future and interact with it, because like if you're going to write those scenes, I mean, it's no fun if they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So they have to do stuff, but they don't want to commit themselves to like changing the timeline or making things that didn't happen or undoing things or getting it sort of convoluted like that. They still want to have everything we know be true, and so somehow, their rules make that the case that they can do both.
It's cumbersome to say the least.
We talked about the time travel a lot in season 4. The time with the island, the time differences. The thing with the doctor and the thing with the payload. Yeah, when I was watching season 4, I remembered all that headache, and this it's only worse now. I don't even want to try to think about how it's supposed to actually work. Like try to make it make sense, because I really think it doesn't. I really think it's. I'm just going to have to go with it.
Yeah, like I said, the thing that helps me go with it is just the idea that once they flash to another time, whatever actions they did in the previous time period are sort of null and void.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and assume that. But I mean, if some of them die there, like they do, I mean, what about that?
I definitely wrote that down. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think your interpretation is more or less correct. It's just what they've written, it has a hard time fitting with it sometimes.
Yeah, well, we'll see. The people who died and all that. We'll see what happens when they flash, and if those people are there, somehow I will still be. My theory will make sense, but it will be stupid of them to do.
Yeah. We'll see. I suspect that's not the case. I suspect they actually are dead, but we'll see.
I would expect that too. Yet they didn't die in the past, so why are they dying? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, how long did we spend on this first sequence?
I don't want to know.
Okay, good.
Okay, you ready for the next scene?
Is that everything in this one?
I think so.
Okay.
So the next scene picks up from the season 4 finale that some of you will remember. We're at the Hofstraller funeral home with Jack and Ben and Locke in the coffin. Ben wants to get Locke in the van. Ben reiterates that they have to get the other Oceanic 6 as well, and Jack is skeptical about that working. Jack asks, "How did this happen?" And Ben says, "Because you left."
Ding!
I didn't realize the titular line was like before Lost even, the title came on.
Yeah, this is just the intro, teaser.
This is a long pre-title thing. Damn. Okay. So Jack shaves. He's in a motel room with Ben, or a hotel room. I don't know. Jack asks when Ben saw Locke last. Ben says on the island. And then we see a replay of some of the scenes from the season 4 finale involving Ben and Locke and the orchid. Ben asks, and he sort of gives a narrated version of what happened at the end there. Ben asks Jack what Locke said to him to make him a believer. Jack says that Locke said the people left behind would die if they didn't go back. Ben asks if Locke said what happened to them when the island moved. Jack says no. Ben says, well, then I guess we'll never know.
I have to say that, Ben as the character delivered that line so well. I want to believe that he really thinks that. Well, I guess we'll never know, because I have no ideas, nor do I possibly know exactly what happened to them.
I know.
Oh man, what a line!
Yeah, this is where it was like Ben's back. Here we are.
Ben is back. He's back, but he's trying not to be back. I'm still confused on whether or not if we can really trust him or not. I haven't figured that out yet.
I definitely think they want us to worry about that a little bit. I'm trusting him at the moment, but maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. But I mean, the weird thing about this to me is that their explicit plan is to get the Oceanic Six together and go back to the island to save the people. So once they get there, they can ask them what happened. I don't see why he's saying we'll never know.
I didn't even think of that. Well, then I guess we'll never know until we get back to the island and ask them.
Yeah.
See, this part of what's convoluted, I think, is like, okay, Jack says that John, who's dead now, said that if I don't go back and we all don't go back, everyone will die or is dead. I don't see. That's what's weird, because like, how do they know that the people aren't dead already?
Right.
Who knows what happened when like they said, when the island moved, they could all be dead, and so doing all this to getting everyone to go back, like, so these people won't die, doesn't make any sense if they're possibly already dead.
Right.
I don't know why Jack didn't think of that, but
well, maybe Locke told them they're not dead.
Yeah.
I mean, he must have, if he's telling him you have to go back to save them.
Well, true. I mean, that's definitely true. But they could be dead between then and now.
Between then and now, because Locke hasn't been there for a while.
Maybe they started time traveling and people threw flaming arrows at them. I don't know.
No, that's too crazy.
I just made that up.
That would never happen. I lost.
That was a wild, crazy, random idea that they would never do.
Yeah, well, wow.
One of the things that I do want to point out that I thought was nice was, they cut to this. They show Jack in this scene, and he's got that awful fake beard.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, God, I forgot about the fake beard. And then the very next scene, the first thing he's doing is shaving, and I'm like, yes! All right, they're getting rid of that.
We don't have to look at the beard anymore.
I'm glad they were like, okay, let's get rid of this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the beard symbolizes, drug-addled, miserable, hopeless Jack, and so him shaving it is suggests he's recovering and he's going to start trying to do something productive now.
Yeah, I'm just glad they minimized how much we had to endure looking at him with that for this part of the show. So
yeah, I agree. I remembered the beard, of course, because I had just seen it, but I didn't like it either. It does look ridiculous.
This is so bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this scene.
I think so.
Nothing too crazy.
I think so. So we segue. Ben's, I guess we'll never know, segues into 3 years earlier. We see a replay of Ben turning the wheel and the event, the white light and the island moving. They do a replay of that from the finale, and then we see Locke afterwards, after it ends, but the others are gone. If you recall, we left him with the others. He went out and
he
met
was
up
king
with
of the
them.
others.
And so the others are gone, but Locke's there in the same place. Then we go over to Dan and some red shirts on the raft. They moved with the island apparently, as we suspected.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Sawyer and Juliet on the beach, also where we left them. And then Bernard runs out of the jungle looking for Rose, of course, and then Rose appears. They're reunited. Bernard says that the camp is gone, and so they go over to where the camp used to be, and the stuff's not there. But Dan says it's not gone. Dan wants to go to something man-made. Juliet suggests a Swan Station.
Something man-made? How about our camp? Oh, wait, we can't go there.
Dan agrees. Sawyer questions Dan, and Dan says the camp hasn't been built yet.
What?
And that's the end of the teaser.
Yeah, so how about alternative theory? You guys are in the future, and the camp's no longer there anymore. Is that not plausible, Dan?
No, that's
I don't
impossible.
know. That's impossible? Okay. Because when you time travel, you go to the past first, and then you go to the future, and then you go back to the past, and then you go to the future. You never would go to the future first.
That camp's going to be there forever.
Oh, Dan, you're...
Don't you know the forever camp rule of time travel?
The forever camp. Well, once you set up a camp on a beach,
yeah,
you can't unset up the camp on a beach.
No, nothing can.
It's a rule.
It is. Yeah, you're right.
I think, maybe
they jumped to a conclusion there, which I think turned out to be right. But
hey, I'll just say Dan's the kind of guy who, the conclusions that he jumps to are just right.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy, so I'll buy it.
It's true. Fair enough. So one thing I wanted to bring up, I guess I'll bring it up here. Maybe I should bring it up later. I don't even know.
How about both? Bring it up twice.
Bring it up twice. Fuck it. Why not? No, I'll bring it up now. So the others disappeared. The others didn't go along with Locke. However, Juliet did. So I mean, this is just, I just don't, I mean, maybe there's some strange mystical explanation for this, or scientific explanation, I don't know. But, I mean, like Cindy and the kids from the plane, like they were with the others. How does the island distinguish between them and Juliet and the others, in terms of deciding who's gonna start shifting and who's not? I mean,
Well, obviously, to answer that, I think you'd probably have to know something about what's going on and why, which we don't. Really, all I can sort of assume is that the longer you've been on the island, the more likely you are to not time travel or time shift or whatever. I kind of assume that's why Charlotte is having problems, because she was on the island when she was little, right? If I remember correctly.
Apparently she was born there, yes.
Yeah, that's right. She was born there.
That's what we learned at the end of season 4.
Yeah, so, I think that all works for me up until, like you mentioned, the Cindy thing, when it's like, okay, they should really go with the others, but they're really new, so they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Or I should say they should stay and not time travel, but they kind of should, since they're just as, they're like the, the regular Losties, So, I mean, I don't really know what to say about that, other than, I don't think it has anything to do with, mundane things like, maybe the others all eat a certain thing that keeps them there. Something stupid like that.
I didn't think of that.
So sort of like, product of, if you're more island in touch with. That's a new thing I came up with, new phrase. Hyphenated word. I really don't know. I'm just sort of giving it a general. The others aren't time shifting because they're indigenous to the island, as much as that word means anything, and the Losties are shifting because they're not. So that's all I got.
Now, so for Juliet, I mean, you can say, well, she was recruited. She wasn't.
Yeah, she's only been there a couple years.
She wasn't one of the old school others, but she's been there longer than Cindy has. I mean, is it this?
Like I said, I think Cindy should be time shifting, and maybe she is. We don't know. So, I mean, I would want her to stay with the others because she is another at this point. But I think that's the kind of finer detail that I just can't even speculate on.
Yeah, I just don't think it really makes. I mean, in terms of the show, like they don't sort of want. I mean, if Juliet disappeared and Cindy shows up, like I don't know, they don't want that.
They should just kill Cindy at this point, right?
Yeah, they really should.
So they don't have to deal with questions like this
Yeah,
anymore.
she's a pain in the ass, definitely. Her and those kids, just enough with them.
We came to watch.
Oh, no.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was so crazy, and it turned out not to be crazy.
Oh, man, that promo.
God, that promo. That was one of the last promos I watched because of stuff like that.
That was probably one of the worst as far as, like, making you think it was going to blow you away. And the actual scene is really terrible. You want to watch something, Cindy? Go watch it. All right.
Oh, man. So bad.
Yeah, that was the good old days. That was the episode where Juliet got her tattoo that we'll never see again, probably.
Yeah, no, that tattoo we will never see again. Trust me. Yeah, that was some of those like meaningless little side storylines, like that are just weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They were really floundering at the beginning of season 3. They had them kidnapped and they just God. But never mind that. Here we are in season 5, so I'll just let that go.
Yeah. So camp hasn't been built. Okay, so basically these guys time shifted back to the past at some point before their camp was built, before they landed on the island.
Yeah.
The island itself didn't seem to have changed.
Right.
So it's like so it seems like the point in time of which Ben, they were all on the island when Ben turned the wheel. That island is still there in the future, presumably. See, this is what's weird. The people on the helicopter and the people, who were leaving the island, they saw it vanish.
Right.
So it did vanish.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the people who moved. The island did move.
Yeah. So I could say something from the podcast here.
Okay, interject some D&C wisdom.
That might help. They pretty much said that sort of both things are happening. That the people are moving and the island moved.
The island moved, or the island is moving?
I don't know.
Damn it!
I don't remember exactly what they said. It was either the island's moving or the island moved. It definitely moved. Whether it's still moving, I don't know. But they suggested that both things were going on.
So it's something like the island moved, presumably just the once, and the people who are time shifting because presumably the island moved, and if everyone comes back, that somehow restores some sort of balance that will allow them to all not time shift and stay on the island in its new place. Something like that. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going on.
Yeah, I think that's my best guess for the moment. Yeah.
Who would have thought that moving the island would have made some people on the island time shift?
Not me. goddamn sure.
Did not think of that one.
No. I think if you listen, I don't suggest that you do, but if you did, listen to the end of our podcast where we speculate about what happened when the island moved, I'm pretty sure you won't hear. As crazy as that theories can be, you certainly will not hear.
Oh, man.
Maybe they're shifting around through various points of time on the island.
We should go back and put that in there.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
It can sound prescient. Yeah, no, we did not come up with that because it makes absolutely no sense. But hey, what a perfect reason to need the other people to come back to the island, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Was definitely wondering what was going to be the big pull, and I guess that's it. I have to say, I mean, it's a turn, you know, the show. I mean, I remember the early days we talked about how Lost, you know, it kind of goes right up to the edge of sci-fi.
Yeah,
but
it definitely was creeping towards sci-fi, and then it jumped in all the way.
It really did, yeah.
And got covered in sci-fi.
Like, they're just not even pretending not to be sci-fi at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely there. Like, you just can't have a story like this and have it not be sci-fi.
I'm waiting for the Klingons to show up.
Yeah.
I think Jacob is a Klingon. That's all I'm gonna say. I you know, either maybe he's a Romulan, but I don't know.
Oh God. Yeah.
Maybe they just need to boost power to the shields and maybe reconfigure their inertial dampeners.
That'll do it.
Maybe that'll keep the. Oh wait, they're time shifting, so this is obviously an effect of there's some sort of chrono effect.
Yeah.
The chronotons are out of balance.
Temporal
they need to
anomaly.
They need to generate an anti-chronoton field. I think that's it.
All right, so it's not as sci-fi as Star Trek is.
It's getting there.
I don't think we'll ever hear words like that. But
it's getting there.
But yeah, I mean, Star Trek definitely had episodes like this.
Oh, totally.
It was one of their favorite running things to do.
Oh, that reminds me of when this episode, when they first get into the time shifting thing, I'm thinking, oh God, this is Quantum Leap.
Oh yeah.
They're quantum leaping through different things, and it was the same sort of setup. Like, you in a new time period, you don't know what's going on, and someone's shooting at you, and someone's this and that, and like you just don't know what's going. You try to reorient yourself, and then of course you time shift again.
I see. Yeah. Unfortunately, I never watched Quantum Leap. I only know that that's what it's about, but I don't know what the show's like at all.
Well, you saw that episode of Star Trek where Worf was time shifting through different parallel universes.
I certainly did.
So it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So.
I can imagine. I mean, it's like this episode. So yeah. What was the reason he was quantum leaping? Do you know that?
Oh, he was the whole point was he was trying to get back into his original time. I forgot why why they came up with the whole quantum leap system and why he originally went back. But the whole idea of the show was he was jumping into different bodies throughout history, and so he'd jump into one and he'd be in the Civil War or something, and he'd have to save someone, and he'd have to accomplish something in this new body, and once he did, he would shift to the next thing, but he was always trying to, as the line said, leap home, as I think the intro would said, something like that, but it's like Sliders, it's like that whole thing where you're just trying to get home.
Right. Yeah, okay. All right.
Like the Losties.
Yeah, that's what they want.
See, I brought it back. Brought it home.
You did. Nice work. That could have been a useless tangent, but you made it work. That's why we pay you the big bucks.
Oh, I'm supposed to be getting paid?
Oh, you haven't been getting the.
No, haven't got 1 red cent.
Wow.
Or blue cent or green cent.
Wow. No colored sense at all, huh?
Mm-mm.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll have to we'll look into that.
All right.
Later.
You guys have my address, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I moved.
Oh really?
I thought I updated with HR.
No. We still we have the address you were at 10 years ago. You're not still there?
I'm still there. Yeah, I moved 12 years ago.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, you should have the checks then.
Okay. Well, I don't.
Well, I'll talk to Sheila, and we should be able to
bitch.
get you some new.
Sheila never liked me, and she never will, and that's probably why I don't have my checks. All right. You need to ask Irene to get it done, because Sheila, after what happened at the Christmas party, it just. Okay. I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I understand. It's a little much. Okay, Irene, it is. Get ready. Anyway, moving right along. Ready for the next scene?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, so the next scene is at Kate's house. Aaron is watching TV. Or should I say the baby? That reminds me. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this. The thing from season 4 where it was Meet Kevin Johnson when Tom's trying to recruit Michael to,
Oh, wow, I forgot that happened.
Yeah. It was yeah, so did I until I watched it. And he's like, do I need to tell you some names? Jack, Sawyer, Claire, her baby. Just love that. Those are some names.
Her baby.
Her baby. Yeah. Anyway, that's what that reminded me of. Okay, so right, there's a knock at the door, and there's 2 lawyers there. They say they're there to get a blood sample from Kate and Aaron to determine their relationship, if there is one. Kate asks who the client is, and the lawyer says, I can't tell you, I guess. Sorry.
Who's the client? I can't.
That's what I wrote. Sorry. Okay, so then the lawyer says that if Kate doesn't comply, he's going to come back with the sheriff and force her to. Kate shuts the door in his face after saying, come back with the sheriff then. So then she runs upstairs and packs a suitcase and gets a gun and some money.
That's all you need, right? A gun and some money. She's good to go.
She's a woman on the run.
Dude, she was born to run. I believe they stated that.
Fuck, I forgot. I didn't even realize why that seemed so natural.
Of course, she was born to run, and just when she thought she could finally settle down and have a normal life, she's got to run again.
I know they said that in the writer's room.
Oh, totally.
That was the idea. I forgot about Kate's story, because they barely talk about it in season 4. Oh God, the running, the endless running,
the never stopping running.
I forgot. Oh, you're so right. Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah. Oh, that was the end of the scene. So, right. So I don't know. What do you want to say about this scene?
I actually have to look up. I watched this episode twice, and I still don't know what Aaron said in the beginning. I didn't catch what.
I could not understand him.
Choo-choo tunnel. And then he says choo-choo tunnel, and then Kate says, oh, I think choo-choo knows better than that. He goes in that tunnel, he's never coming back out. I didn't get what that meant.
That sounds like nonsense.
Is he referring to the cartoon? And if so, why can't he get out of the tunnel? I don't know what cartoon would show a character named Choo Choo going into a tunnel and never coming back out. That's a little scary.
It is. I feel like she's just making that up. Like
I couldn't tell if it was the cartoon or him eating his breakfast or what he was talking about. Choo Choo Tunnel.
Choo Choo Tunnel. Thanks, Aaron. God. You're just as articulate as your mother.
Your first line of season 5 is great, buddy. Just as articulate as your mother. Wow, that would sting, man. You're talking about a dead woman here.
Or am I?
Or are you? I forgot. I don't know. Is she dead?
I don't even know.
I guess we don't know if
she is
really
dead.
I
know. She is hanging out with Christian in the cabin, whatever that means. So yeah, I think we'll find out at some point. But yeah, I didn't understand what he said. I guess I understood what she said, but I didn't know what that was supposed to mean.
Yeah, it still makes no sense, but
yeah, that's a great dialogue. Right there.
Yeah, I know. Like, of course, obviously the main point of this scene is when the lawyers show up, so they have to write this little intro piece. Okay, here's their normal life.
Yeah.
But really, this is what we get? Choo Choo Tunnel.
That sounds so awful.
Yeah.
It makes the kid look stupid.
Yeah. He's a kid, but it does make him look stupid.
He doesn't look that young that, like, he can't even, like, form a sentence. He just, choo-choo tunnel.
I think her response is worse, though.
Her response is worse. That's the thing. That's the thing that's amazing.
She has a worse response than a 2-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah,
Choo-choo better not go in that tunnel.
What? Yeah, exactly. Like, what were they thinking when they wrote that? Like, do they think that sounds like good dialogue? Like,
I feel like there may be fans out there who know what's going on here. Maybe we sound idiotic, but I just don't know what they're talking about. So if anybody out there, if this makes sense to you, please let us know on the forum. Maybe it'll make sense, but this sounds so insane to me. It's such a minor thing. But it's just like, choo-choo tunnel. Choo-choo knows better than go tunnel.
It sounds more ridiculous the more you say it.
I know. He goes in that tunnel and he's never coming back out.
Yeah, it's like, what are you watching? It's like this. It's like this evil, like monster tunnel, and you go in and you can never come out. And,
yeah.
And this is supposed to be like a cartoon, and his reaction to that situation is choo-choo tunnel. Like, do you not understand? Choo-choo shouldn't go in the tunnel.
Maybe maybe there's gold in the tunnel. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So the cartoon he's watching has a train on it. So the train is the choo-choo. And I guess it's going to go in a tunnel, but she doesn't want him to, because if he goes in that tunnel, he's never coming back out. But you know what, Kate? Trains go through tunnels all the time.
Maybe she doesn't know that.
She's never seen a train come back out of a tunnel.
Yeah.
She's like, those tunnels are black holes, man. That's why she never rides trains.
Exactly.
She knows the train won't go out. And she's wondering why the FBI won't do something about the epidemic of trains disappearing through tunnels. This is one of those things. You can't stop nature, huh?
I guess so.
All right. So let's talk about these guys who show up at our door.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's more important for the show.
Maybe.
I don't know. I have to, like, normally when you point these things out, it just flew right by me. But I kind of I replayed that choo-choo tunnel thing a few times myself because I didn't know what he was saying at first, and her response is. Like, if you isolate that, if you take that out of context, it really sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like what? It's just, I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed that they wrote it, they thought about it. You know, it got reread.
It got through several people. People were like, "Oh yeah, this is great. Check, check, check." And then they gave it to the actors, and the actors said, "Cool, all right." And then they shot it, and then they put it and they edited it together.
Yeah.
And people heard that line 1,000 times, and then they sent it to ABC to broadcast.
Yeah.
And then they watched it, and then they put it on the air.
Yeah. And at no point it seems did anyone sort of question whether this was really like reasonable dialogue that made any sense at all. I don't know. It's supposed to be like fun and charming, I guess, but it just seems like creepy and weird.
Yeah, it definitely comes off strange.
And I think her delivery is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like the way she says it makes it sound like kind of like, I don't know, like she's being more ominous than she needs to be.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Ugh. Anyway, all right, so the lawyers.
So the lawyers, first, the guy who's his associate who's standing behind him, like, why does he not get introduced?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, this guy is Dan Norton from Agostini and Norton, so he's, one of the partners.
Right.
I guess this guy is not Agostini.
I
he
thought
did
he was
not
going to say that, but he didn't.
No. It was just so weird that he's just like, he's my... I mean, maybe he's the guy who would have done the blood sample. That was just weird to me.
Yeah.
That's all we get is he's my associate. But anyway, I like that Kate didn't let them in. I thought that was just good. Like, no, explain here.
Mm-hmm.
When she decides to bolt, man, I'm like, there it is. There's Kate doing what she does.
See, I was just thinking about season 4, which didn't have any Kate running in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had forgotten that was her thing.
No, she was ready, and I like that. All she got a single small suitcase.
Yeah.
Put some stuff in there, a little bit of her stuff, a little bit of his stuff. Got her money and the gun, and I mean that's really all you need if you're on the lam, right? Because anything else you need, you can buy. That's what the money's for.
Yeah.
So I like it. She's ready to roll.
And if you can't buy it, you got the gun.
And her line, he's like, "Where are you going?" She's like, "We're going on vacation." And I'm like, "That's a perfect thing to tell a kid, like, because that's what they would believe,
Yeah.
The things that they're gonna encounter will make sense with that,
Right.
They'll be staying at a hotel, they'll be in the car for a while, they'll be, all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah.
Well done scene, except for that first part.
And I definitely think he'll buy it.
Oh,
I definitely
totally.
think he's not going to like raise a lot of questions about just suddenly going on vacation. He just strikes me as the kind of kid who's going to be okay with that. I don't know.
Choo-choo tunnel.
Choo-choo tunnel. That's all. That's all he needed to say.
Oh, choo-choo tunnel. Yeah, so should we talk about the guy, the lawyers and what they're doing? I have a theory of who the client is.
Oh,
Do
good.
you have a theory of who the client is?
I actually don't have a theory, so please.
I didn't have one until I watched it again. I think the client is probably Ben, or in some degree. It's someone who is trying to get Kate to need a reason to want to leave. And what's the biggest reason to want to leave? Someone wants to take Aaron from her.
Look at that.
So I think, I think Ben, because Jack says it. I think in the scene before this is where Jack says it won't be easy to get Kate. He doesn't say why, but the reason, of course, is she's got Aaron, and why would she want to go back to the island?
Not only that, she's actually, if you remember from Eggtown, she's actually legally required to stay in
California.
State. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, she's trying to not run, but I think, I think Ben knew, because I think we were talking about that before, like. When they said, in season 4 at the end, when we got to come back, Kate, and all that, why, what would make Sun want to come back? She's got the kid. What would make Kate want to come back? She's got the kid. And this will
same thing.
I know, right? Yeah, I didn't realize that sentence was gonna end up that way. But yeah, so I think this is the big reason that's gonna make Kate want to go back to the island, is because that's where she's going to be safest with Aaron, to keep Aaron.
Yeah. I think you're right. That sounds like a very plausible theory, and I really didn't have a better one. I didn't know what anyone else. I can't think of what anyone else stands to gain by doing this. So.
And and I don't even know if these guys are real lawyers. Like, it seemed a little weird that they already had a court order issue from the judge to get a blood sample, and it's like, on what basis? Who? Because like the person, I feel like I'm not a lawyer, Should I?
I don't know. Why not?
Maybe I won't.
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer, although it says it on my business card.
Oh.
I did it anyway.
Okay. First business card reference of 2009.
But I would assume that whoever is making this claim for Aaron would have to have some sort of proof, to show the judge that I am Aaron's next of kin, and this Kate lady has, whatever, blah, 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 whatever legal thing you would have to have. Didn't really gel with just like, hey, the judge has already issued this thing that you know nothing about. Like, it was weird to me. So I don't even know if these guys are real lawyers or if they're part of what's going on or what. But I think ultimately Ben is behind it. Yeah.
I definitely could see that. I guess the person who maybe really should have the baby is Claire's mom, who came to visit Jack at his dad's funeral. But I don't think she knows anything. So, but I could see I could see if she found out somehow. I could see her trying to get the baby back. So I could see her being behind it if someone told her. I don't know why they would do that, but that's the only other person I can think of who would try to do it. Sort of legitimately.
You don't think she bought her Kate's story of being pregnant during the plane crash and all that weirdness and giving birth to the baby?
No, I mean that's definitely the problem. Like if you look into it, I mean it's she clearly wasn't pregnant enough during the when she got on the plane to.
Are you telling me someone who was industrious could actually pull up, like, I don't know, airport video camera footage of her getting on the flight before
I think so.
with, like, no pregnancy showing?
And I mean, and she was in custody at the time, so I'm pretty sure if she were pregnant, that would have been noted. Like,
there's some form somewhere, transfer of prisoner form, where you check the condition and maybe prisoner is with child. I don't know.
Yeah, and they even brought that up in the press conference in season 4. Like, someone asked her that, and they just go like, no more questions. Like, they just dodge it completely.
Yeah.
But
speaking of the press conference,
I
was just gonna say, I miss Michelle Forbes. I want her to do some more stuff.
I don't think she's gonna do shit.
I know. I want her to be in the show, man. She's awesome. She just needs to do something.
Yeah, I don't think her character was really that important. I think they really did just bring her in to do a little thing. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before about certain characters who may have come back that I didn't think we'd ever see again. But I'm guessing we won't see her again. I feel like she's just this Oceanic executive, and I don't think Oceanic has anything to do with anything. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they're more or less just a regular airline, and they just had some bad luck with the plane.
Yep, as other airlines do.
Yeah, exactly. So wait, what was the point?
Michelle Forbes, probably not coming back ever.
Michelle Forbes, yeah. I would like to see her as well. I just, I don't know. I can't imagine why we'd see her again. Although I guess they could make up something.
They are writers.
Yeah.
Kind of what they do.
I guess, apparently so. And I guess I'm not, so.
Well, you do make up stuff anyway.
I do make up stuff, yeah, that's true. It's true. It's not that hard to do.
Nah. So, next scene?
Yeah, I guess so. Let's see. You want? Oh, yeah. Sorry. So the next scene is. I feel like there's something I wanted to say. That's why I'm hesitating here. Yeah. No, I can't think of it. Whatever. Okay. Next scene. Back with Juliet and Sawyer walking through the jungle. They sort of retell the story of Sawyer jumping from the helicopter. Dan tells him to pick up the pace. Sawyer asks him for his shirt. Then he asks Dan to explain what's going on. Dan says it would be hard to explain. And Sawyer slaps him. Dan says that either the island or they are dislodged from time. Dan asks if they are all accounted for. Sawyer says not everyone. Locke. And then that's that scene. Then we go over to Locke. I don't know. Should I keep going? Oh, shit. Are you not there?
Yeah, what?
Oh, you are there.
Yeah, they said Locke. Sorry, I zoned out.
Oh,
I was thinking about what I wanted to say about the whole Sawyer thing.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, that's the end of the scene. I was going to ask if I should go on, but we could talk about this scene if you wanted to say something about Sawyer.
I just, this was the next part of what my groan in terms of the writing is when Sawyer comes up to Dan and he's like, "Hey, you, give me your shirt." Like, what? Like, okay, first of all, you don't have a shirt, so, and you want one because you don't like not having one apparently, so you want mine, but you will realize that means I won't have a shirt. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it was so weird to me that out of the blue, he's like, "Give me your shirt." And then it was like, "Oh, you want to give me your shirt? Well, how about you tell me what's going on here?" And he's like, "Oh, I can't tell you, slap." It was such a uneven scene, like that little section when he's just like, I don't know if they're trying to make Sawyer come off as, he's uneasy or what his emotional, or what they're doing with that, but that was so weird to me when it's like, "Hey, give me your shirt." "Okay, forget about that. Tell me what's going on." "Oh, okay, I'm going to slap you." Like, it was just so weird.
Yeah, you're right. This is definitely an awkward scene. Like, I didn't really buy a lot of it.
No.
It just comes off unnatural. Like, everything Sawyer's doing just feels wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. That's it. It's like everything he's doing, it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it's and even like Dan, like, pick up the pace. I don't know. That sort of bothers me. It's like, what? Yeah. The whole thing is just strangely antagonistic. Pick up the pace. Give me your shirt.
Yeah. No, I won't give you a shirt. Fine. Tell me what's going on here. I can't do that.
Slap.
Like, the slap was just totally unnecessary.
It was. It was
like,
ridiculous.
That made no sense.
It was ridiculous. It was too far. It was
too far too soon.
Yeah. He didn't earn it. The emotion of the scene wasn't at that level.
No, it really wasn't.
And he just, like, slaps him out of nowhere.
I mean, maybe Sawyer's just he's getting too much sun, and he's starting to burn, and he just really needs that shirt. Like, he's just pissed about no shirt. That was so weird to me, you know?
Yeah, it was really weird. And one of the things, I was watching the commentary for season 4, when he jumps out of the helicopter, he has a shirt on. And then when he swims up to the beach, he doesn't have a shirt on, which means that at some point he took off his shirt while he was swimming back to the island.
You mean a fish ate his shirt, right?
I didn't think of that theory.
Option B, a fish ate it.
Fish ate it. Yeah, why not? They pointed that out in the commentary, and I hadn't really noticed it. They didn't explain why, but they noted that he lost his shirt at some point. And so, he could have kept the shirt on. It would have been wet, but he could have dried it out when he got back and used it at some point. So, it's his own fault that he doesn't have a shirt. That's my point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
unless a fish ate it, which I didn't think of.
I like to think a fish ate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really. Sawyer doesn't have a shirt for like most of this episode.
Yeah.
And it's just really, it's just this why. Like, why? I mean, he's constantly looking for a shirt the whole time. Like, of all the things that are going on here, do we really have to be worried about whether or not Sawyer has a shirt? It's so weird. And he was so fixated on it. Like, he's been shirtless before.
Yeah.
But he's like, I need a shirt. Gotta have a shirt. Give me a shirt. Any shirt. Yeah. I don't know. Weirdness.
I mean, they had to deal with the fact that he didn't have a shirt on because of season 4. But I guess it was their choice to focus on it so much and leave it lingering for so long.
Yeah, I mean, Juliet's wearing like 2 shirts, isn't she? Like, or I don't know, maybe she's got some sort of tank top on or something underneath. Yeah. I mean, not that he could fit in her shirt, but yeah. But she is sort of a shirt hog, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Flaunting her shirts, wearing 2 of them, 2 different kinds of shirts, even.
Yeah, it really is. It really is a really gaudy display. She should tone it down a little. There are shirtless people.
There are people without shirts.
Yeah, who
desperately need them.
Love to have the luxury of 2 shirts.
Yeah.
So I agree with you about this scene. It really, not my favorite.
It stuck out as like just really not that great. And Carlton and Damon wrote this episode.
Yeah, they did. So they're to blame for that and Choo Choo Tunnel.
I'm trying to find out.
What are you trying to find out?
The line when he's like, when Dan was trying to say that he really couldn't explain to Sawyer what was going on. Yeah, like it's really like he's like he goes on for a little bit to be like to emphasize his point that even to a quantum physicist it would be hard to explain what's going on, but he manages to do it quite easily.
Pretty easily, they always
given
do
the
that.
chance.
They always do that.
Yeah.
I can't possibly explain. You'll never understand. Like God, yeah, and then 5 minutes later, you get the explanation. It takes about 15 seconds. And,
he goes, think of the island like a record spinning on the turntable, only now the record is skipping. We're basically dislodged from time, is what he's saying. How hard is? I mean, you don't have to explain the finer points, obviously.
See, that's the thing. I'll give him credit and say that maybe what he means is it's hard to explain on a technical level what's happening, which I can buy. But, clearly Sawyer wants a practical explanation, not a technical explanation.
Yeah. So, and I'll give, Dan's a scientist. He thinks in his default terms. I'll buy that. And he had to be prodded into coming up with the analogy, so that's fine. Yeah. But it was just so weird that I was just like, wow, that wasn't so hard, was it?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like the it's complicated thing.
Totally.
It's always easier than they think it is.
It's complicated. I'm pregnant. Oh, that wasn't so bad. Okay.
Yeah. That's wow. That's
look at that. Who knew?
Surprisingly easy.
So simple.
Who knew? All right, you ready for the next scene?
Well, he said, okay, the other thing is,
more? Okay.
He says, Juliet says, we're moving through time, or because the island's moving through time, and then Dan says it's just as likely that we're moving.
Oh, yeah. Is that this scene?
Is it? I'm sorry, did I skip?
Yeah, no, you're right. I just didn't write it down in detail. It is this scene.
So he says it's just as likely that we're moving, which I'd love to know why it's just as likely. It's one of those things we'll never find out. I would love to know why that is just as likely versus, the island itself moving. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll so never find that out.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And he says, and everyone in your group. So, like we said before, who counts as being in that group? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, it includes people who weren't necessarily on the plane. Dan, Charlotte, and Miles, and Juliet. So, yeah, it's the island's very choosy. It picks exactly the characters that they want to show.
I think the island works with the writers to figure out what's best to do.
I think you're right.
They have meetings.
That's the secret of the island.
Like, okay, Carlton, Dan, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to move? You want me to just have the people move? How does this work for your show? Let me know. Call me back. I got Jerry Bruckheimer on the other line. I don't know why.
I don't either, but it makes sense. If I were Jerry Bruckheimer, I would want to speak to the island also.
I think you would. I think you would. He's on a hit show.
Exactly.
He's the main character on a hit show.
Hey, kid, you got the goods.
This island's going places. Literally. Through time.
Right. Or is it?
Or is
it's
it?
just as likely that they're moving through time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All right. So, let's just move to the next scene, please.
All right. That was more than I thought we'd get out of it. So they left saying that Locke wasn't accounted for, and so we go over to Locke to account for him ourselves.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, it is. Not contrived at all. So Locke's by himself in the jungle. He climbs up a hill, and he sees a plane which is crashing on the island. Holy shit!
WTF!
A statue drops, and we see it's one of the Virgin Mary heroine statues, and that confirms, yes, indeed, this is a famous Yemi plane from seasons 1 and 2, which went through a lot of plot stuff. So Locke goes over to where it crashed. He calls out, and no one. You know what I realized? Let me finish the scene, and then I'll say. Sorry. I just realized what. Yeah. So he goes over to the plane. He calls out. No one answers. So he starts climbing up on the stuff that Boone climbed up. I don't know what that's called. To get to the plane.
Yeah.
And then as he's climbing up, he starts being shot at. And finally, he actually is shot in the leg, which causes him to fall off. He lands on the ground, and then there's a rustling noise. Ooh, it's a rustling noise again. Who could it be? Oh no.
Probably not Ethan, right?
Probably not. Except it is Ethan.
Oh, WTF.
WTF. I hope you didn't read the credits, because then you would have been expecting him. I know I was.
Oh, did you see the credits and you knew he was there?
I did.
Yeah.
I as soon as I saw the name, I was like, fuck, don't read the credits. Why did you read the credits? And then I kept reading them.
To see who else was going to show up.
Exactly. I wanted to know.
Well, now that you saw that Easter egg, you wanted to keep going.
I might as well see who else. Yeah, exactly. And so I found out that Penny was going to show up.
Like,
all right, whatever.
Oh,
anyway,
Penny.
I know. He was a Penny. Yeah. So, so it's Ethan. This is really a glorified cameo, though. He comes out from the brush, and he points a gun at Locke. Ethan thinks that Locke came from the plane, and so he asks him, how many of you are there, something like that. Locke says he didn't come from the plane and says that he knows Ethan, tells him his name, and then he also adds that Ben appointed him the leader of the other.
That's a good intro. Good way to break the ice.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm in charge of you.
Yeah, that was
pretty smooth.
Yeah, that would have been a weird thing to hear for Ethan, I think. So Ethan says that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, and he's going to shoot Locke when time travel intervenes and prevents Locke from being shot. But it doesn't prevent him from cowering, and so as the time shift happens, it's night, and we see Locke, and he's still cowering. And then we move over. Then we move over to Sawyer's group, and Sawyer asks Dan where they are now, and Dan says, "Wait for it. We're either in the past or we're in the future."
I love how, it's probably not just as likely that they're back, in the present and the time, that just couldn't be possible, right?
No.
Like, that they went, Oh, Dan.
I know.
They're getting dangerously close to, muddying his goodness as a character.
Yeah.
The more screen time they give him in this situation, it's just you're losing me here, buddy.
I know. He's different. Yeah. Season 4 was the golden era.
Mm-hmm.
He was good back then. But I don't know what he's doing these days. It's unsettling.
Maybe he's becoming like Echo, it's great character, and then what are they doing with you?
Yeah.
That reminds me.
Building a church.
I was just gonna say, didn't Rose say earlier she was near the church?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I forgot to mention. That's what I thought I wanted to say. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, she did. She said she was by the church or something.
Does that mean they finished building it?
I assume not. I assume she just means the skeleton of the church.
Okay.
The way we saw it last. And they're just calling it that because that's what it would have been. But I don't know. Maybe we're supposed to believe they finished it. I don't know. It seems like it doesn't matter now because everything's gone.
What did you want to say about this scene at the beginning?
I was going to say, I just realized what this episode reminded me of. This episode reminds me of Expose, the Nicky and Paulo episode. Because it's sort of like a walking tour through various points on the island, previous time periods that we've seen the results of,
Yeah.
And so him seeing the plane crash and going up to it right when it crashed, that was just, I don't know, that was just such an expose moment.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was really weird. Yeah, I knew they had done something like that before, and I couldn't remember what it was. Yeah, it was that episode, which I don't necessarily recommend that you watch, but it's there. So there's a scene with Ethan, and yeah, I don't really know what to say about it. You think Ethan went over there to you think Ethan shot the people on the plane? That's sort of an age-old mystery.
I don't really know what, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're supposed to believe Ethan saw the plane crash too, like they did with the Oceanic plane, and Ben told him to go over there, or he went by himself and decided to investigate. I don't really think, I feel like Locke got there before Ethan got there. And Ethan, and Ethan started shooting at him. I don't think Ethan had really investigated, so I don't really think he shot the people on the plane. And that's the thing, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're dead, right?
I didn't think it was. I thought I didn't think he shot him before.
Oh, okay.
I thought he shot him after Locke.
Did they get shot?
Well,
I don't remember.
Someone on the boards reminded me that they said that one of them had a gunshot wound back in season 1. I mean, they are laying there in the jungle, so they're not all in the plane. You know, so like some of them get out of the plane, and
yeah, they do kind of. But wasn't one in a tree or something? I thought one of the bodies was or was under a tree, and they thought maybe he fell from the tree. I thought something like that happened.
Oh, maybe you're right. It's been too long. I really don't remember.
Yeah, see, I don't really. Yeah, I was kind of confused as to what to expect if Locke actually got up there. Would they still be in the plane? Did some of them die from the crash? Because I mean, they were getting shot at when they left.
Mhm.
And I thought that's what that bullet was from. Because didn't one of them actually get shot?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, Yemi got shot.
Yemi got shot.
So yeah. So okay, yeah, you're right. It could just be that like he fell out or something, and you know they just died in the crash.
Yeah, that's
no, but Yemi was in the plane. That's right. Yemi was actually inside the plane, so that couldn't have been him. But you're right that they were being shot at.
Yeah, it's just weird. You know, I don't really like Ethan being here because it doesn't make any sense that he found the plane, but it didn't seem like he did anything about it. Mm-hmm. You know, in terms of what we know about the timeline, it's just weird to me that Ethan found the plane.
Mhm.
You know, soon after it crashed, if we're supposed to believe that.
Yeah.
I did think it was kind of interesting to see Locke climbing up to the plane, you know, considering what happened with Boone. You know,
yeah.
he's taking the journey that Boone took and sort of, you know, fell.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, I mean, him witnessing the crash for real is kind of weird. Because it was such a, pivotal thing early in the show, you know.
Yeah, I wonder at what point Locke realizes what's going on. I mean, I assume when he sees a statue in the plane, he must have figured it out. But
yeah.
You know, but to realize he's back in the past must have been pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, because he doesn't have Dan there to tell him stuff.
To tell him obvious things.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was cool to see Ethan, but it was such a weird, you know, and then Locke tells him, you know, Ben put me in charge, and Ethan just does not believe that.
Yeah.
Which is the kind of thing that's so incredulous that he should believe it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You should give some pause to think, okay, this guy, you know, and this is what I hate about scenes like this when, there's some hostile person who wants to shoot somebody, but, you know, you have this sort of gimmick set up that they're going to, in any second now they're going to get out of it. It's like, I feel like if Locke wasn't going to not be shot, I feel like Ethan would have, you know, the normal way I would have pictured this scene going was Ethan would want some information from this guy, not to just shoot him sight unseen.
Yeah.
You know, he's mentioning Ben Linus, he should want to know how he knows Ben.
He should,
you know?
Yeah. He should be a lot more curious than he is.
But he's just so, I'm just going to kill you, sorry, bye. And it's just you're only doing that because Locke is about to time shift. And that's the kind of contrivance you see in writing that I just don't like, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I guess we're just supposed to be
yeah, they never would have written the scene that way if they didn't have the gimmick.
Oh, totally. Somebody shows up on the island talking about Ben, and you don't think Ethan's going to want to at least take this guy to Ben or something?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that would have been crazy. But maybe we're supposed to believe that would have been breaking the rules, that this has something to do with the rules, and he can't do that because it would change things.
Well, I mean, Ethan, here's another example. Ethan never met Locke at the plane and talked to him and almost shot him. And so that's the thing. It's you know, here's something that did not happen in the past yet is supposedly happening. Mm-hmm. But once Locke vanishes, what is Ethan going to do when he's there? He's going to, okay, this guy named John Locke was around this plane crash. I shot him in the leg. Mm-hmm. I was about to kill him. Now he's gone.
Right.
And so the Ethan from that point on never mentions that or remembers that. That's why I kind of think, once they vanished, whatever thing they did in that time period just doesn't happen, except for Desmond.
Except for Desmond, okay.
Because he's different, as he said.
Oh, yeah. Very different. Okay.
So yeah, because because Ethan should have remembered that later, which of course they can't retcon that.
Of course they can't. Yeah, too late. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. That's probably what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I did like that that Ethan wasn't nice. It was just it was every time we've seen him since like season 1, he's been really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I just got fed up with nice Ethan.
No, crazy, evil, scary Ethan is a lot better.
Yeah. Which I mean, he wasn't really that intense, but he was at least not like really friendly.
Yeah.
Sick of that. So yeah. But this really wasn't a serious appearance. I mean, this was kind of a throwaway for me. I could have lived without this.
Yeah, when he says Ben Linus put me in charge, like I just Ethan's response to that, it kind of makes me wonder, like, is he saying this doesn't make sense because like maybe the situation at this point is Ben is not in charge? Or Ben is, or it doesn't make sense that Ben could put you in charge. Like I'm wondering if that's what he is alluding to.
Yeah.
Like, or maybe, Ben's not even on the island yet, or, I mean, he should be, obviously, at some point. But, like, I wonder if it's more than just my leader wouldn't put you in charge. I wonder if it's like this guy's not our leader yet, or this guy is.
I actually was thinking that. I was wondering what I wanted him to say more. I wanted him to say something about what Ben meant to him at the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm wondering, if his response is more about Ben's status. Yeah. At this point in time versus just Ben would never put you in charge kind of a thing, like
right.
Because I don't know who you are, you crazy guy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's not clear what he means. So.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that would have made me like the scene a little better. They had put something in like that, just give a little more indication of where he's coming from.
Yeah, and then when Locke falls, and lands on his back and his leg is shot, anytime that stuff happens with his legs, I'm always, I feel like Locke is too, like, oh crap, can I walk again?
Yeah.
Is this going to be when my legs give out? Of course not this time.
Yeah, that only happened once. And I don't know if we'll ever understand why. I did read a theory that somehow this explains why that happened. I don't think that theory makes any sense, but
what explains why what happened?
This little scene here where he sees the plane crash, and then he goes over and then he gets shot in the leg by Ethan. That somehow that explains why back in season 1 he has the vision where he sees the plane crash, and then in the vision, like he loses the ability to walk, and then of course later, when he's going to the plane, he actually does lose the ability to walk, and I guess the theory goes that that somehow this explains that. I really don't think that makes any sense, but
yeah, I don't think so either. I do like the possibility that excuse me, that he saw the vision of the plane crash, and that links up with this scene here. The losing the ability to use his legs thing doesn't really link up in my mind, like because he just got shot in the leg and was able to walk fine, So that part doesn't really make sense to me, and some other things. But it would be nice if that kind of thing was true, but I just don't think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that vision should have come from the island, right? I mean,
yeah, I
not
think
like
so.
This is a memory you're gonna have or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good try though.
Good try. Yeah. Yeah. I'm probably not presenting the theory very well because I don't really get it and I don't think it's true. So if you do believe the theory, I'm sorry that I didn't make a good case for it, I'd say.
And I'm like the judge who didn't get all the evidence, and I'm like, case dismissed.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like someone could do better, but I really just don't understand how it's supposed to. I mean, because this is Locke after all that happens. Like, if this were an earlier version of Locke, you know, seeing this somehow, you know, then I could buy it. If it were like Desmond seeing, where his 1996 consciousness came to him and saw this, like, you know, then okay, you know.
Simple things like that.
Simple things like that, exactly. Something that could actually have affected the events in season 1, you know, for season 1 Locke, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, whatever. Any more about this?
Nah, let's move on.
Okay. So, over to Sun.
Oh yeah, party time.
Watch out. She's in an airport. She's flying to LA. She goes up to the counter. The agent asks for her passport. After scanning it, she asks Sun to wait there, and then Sun is taken to a room and locked in there. And then, dun dun dun, Widmore comes in and says, "Save your breath. They only do what I tell them to do." Widmore says he brought Sun there because she showed him no respect. Widmore asks,
"Why are you laughing?"
Sorry, that sentence didn't sound very convincing when I read it. Widmore asks Sun about the common interest, a reference to the scene they had in season 4 finale.
The scene that was devoid of respect, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. And Sun says, "To kill Benjamin Linus." And that's it. So this is something I made a post on the forum about, basically referencing that scene that they're talking about here from the finale, because I remembered, like, I had a thought about it and you had a thought about it, and I didn't remember what those were.
Okay.
And this sort of clarifies that scene, what was going on there.
So what was the thought that we had about it?
Okay, so I totally remember this wrong. So I thought, hold on, there were two things. What was the second thing? Oh, one of the things that you went on about for quite some time that I forgot about completely was that the scene made Widmore look really not that powerful. Like the way she just walks up to him. Like
walks up to him, yeah.
He doesn't seem to have a lot of people with him. You know, he doesn't come across as an uber supervillain in that scene, because he just seems very accessible. Like, she could have easily killed him or whatever. And I thought this scene makes him seem a little bit more sort of, you know, the fact that he can sort of rig this, you know, this detention thing in the airport.
So he's all powerful as long as he traps you in an airport.
Yeah.
Don't mess with him. He's king of TSA. They only do what I say. That oversized bag, you can bring it aboard, sir, because I'm Charles Widmore. You want an extra bag of peanuts? You see me. This is so weird. This is such a weird scene. I first wanted. Okay, continue about your research and investigation.
Right. So I was just going to say, I mean, this, as your response to it indicates, this isn't as impressive as it could be, I suppose. But nonetheless, it's some kind of display of power for Widmore. The other thing is, you know, when she talks about the common interest, and then the big line, which they replayed in the previously on Lost. You know, after all, we weren't the only ones who left the island.
That was a big line of contention.
It certainly was. So do you remember? I had forgotten. I forgot what your theory was. Your theory was, I don't know that. I mean, well, your theory was that was that she was actually saying that Widmore had been on the island before, and that she knew that, and she was saying, she was telling him that she knew that he had left the island. And my theory was that she was referring to the fact that either Ben, Desmond, or someone else, who else could I possibly have been thinking of? Some third person was it Locke maybe? Maybe it was Locke. I think it was Locke. What was who she was referring to? That they were out there sort of opposing him or whatever, and so that was her sort of referencing that. So this scene makes me think that she was talking about Ben.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
And especially because they played that in the previously on Lost, and then this is all we get on that in this episode. So yeah.
How does
and also I don't think she knows that Widmore's been on the island before at this point.
Yeah. She. I mean, this scene. The way.
Oh no.
Badass son that was in that previous scene when she just walks up to Widmore and states her case, like she had a certain bravado about her,
Yeah, she did.
She tries to put it on in this scene, like, after the whole respect thing that they talk about, that she kind of like sits down and like gets to business, and she kind of tries to pull that off again. I'm not buying it as much as I was before. Like, but anyway, I don't know what my point is, other than to say, she definitely talked about Ben, but why does Widmore know that Ben is not on the island?
Yeah, I think. Well, he definitely knows that because Ben visited
him, right?
Him.
Okay, that's right.
But when we saw this scene in the finale, we didn't know what Sun knew at the time. But I think at this point, it's clear that she doesn't really know that much.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Is she doesn't really know that much.
So yeah, certainly not the history of Widmore.
And the common interest is pretty simple.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything complicated.
I know.
It was just
it seems sort of convoluted to have two scenes where in one of them she says we have common interests, and in the next scene she says the common interests are this, and that's it.
This one thing.
Yeah. Like, she could have said that in the finale, but I guess they wanted to drag it out a little bit, sort of keep us guessing about what was going on.
How does Sun know that Widmore knows that Ben left the island?
Sun doesn't know that Widmore knows.
Well, she has to know to say, like, as we both know, we weren't the only ones who left the island. Like, she's assuming Widmore knows Ben left.
She is. But then, like, she probably knows about Ben because of Locke. And so he, Locke may have told her something about Widmore.
But what would he tell her in relation to Ben, though? Because Locke didn't see Ben after the Orcus thing.
Yeah, apparently not. But he knew Ben got off the island.
Oh, heard it through the grapevine.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they say at the end of season 4 in that last scene with Jack and Ben. Like, Jack says that Locke told him that Ben was off the island. So that's the reason.
Oh, because didn't Ben say that whatever he was going to do was going to make him leave or something? When he was going to, before he pushed the wheel or something?
He did. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, that makes sense. I'm just piecing it together.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure why. Sun knows that Widmore wants to kill Ben. Apparently. I'm not sure exactly why she knows that. But I can see why she knows that Ben's out there. And I'm not quite sure why she wants to kill Ben. Although I guess it could have something to do with Jin.
Yeah.
That's the only motivation I can think of. Because
she doesn't blame Kate, so she needs to blame someone.
Yes, that's right. And they're kind of hinting that it's Jack, but maybe it's going to turn out to be Ben.
Yeah.
Because there's supposed to be two people. This was a season 4 thing. There were two people, and one of them was her dad.
Two people responsible for Jen's death?
Yeah.
So one was the dad. One
was her dad, and the other one is as yet unknown. Jack sort of said that he thinks Son holds him responsible, and there's a scene later here where it seems like they're hinting that maybe she's holding Jack responsible, but she wants to kill Ben. So maybe it's actually Ben. And Ben in some ways is quite, has his share of the blame because he's the reason the bomb went off.
He's the reason for seasons, well,
in addition to everything else that he's responsible for, including the boat being there in the first place, he was also responsible for the bomb going off because he killed Kimi, and setting off the bomb.
Oh, Kimi! Forgot about that dude.
Yeah, he killed Kimi, and Locke tells him, "You just killed everyone on that boat," and he goes, "So."
Forgot about that awful line.
Yeah, it was fantastic to revisit that. So Locke knows that. I don't know. Maybe Locke could have told Son that for some reason. I don't know. I really thought Locke and Ben were going to team up, but apparently they're separate. I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to team up at some point here when Locke is resurrected.
Yeah, that's true. I guess Locke's teaming up with him posthumously.
Yeah. One of the things I want to mention about this scene was that Son was apparently he was going to get a flight on Oceanic.
Yeah.
It had the logo on the back. I guess part of the settlement they have free rides for life.
That was from the flash forward, yeah.
And I was thinking okay, someone in a plane crash on a particular airline, it's a horrific plane crash because of obviously what happens later.
Right.
Would they want to fly that crash again? And then that plane again. Fly that crash. And I guess if I was her, I would take solace in the fact that the reason the plane crashed was because Desmond pushed the button.
Yeah.
Which I don't really know if she knows that.
She could know that.
But anyway, I thought, well, that'll at least remedy any ill feelings about flying because it was some extraordinary event, not just a bad airline service or something.
That really should have got passed around. I mean,
you didn't get the memo, Son?
I'm just, certain key characters definitely know that. But yeah, they never really showed sort of people telling people that. So I do wonder who's actually supposed to know. But I'm going to assume they know because, that's definitely a nice thing to know for the future that really, it was really an anomaly. That really shouldn't have happened.
So another thing, did watching season 4, the whole thing with, I was thinking about the plane and the plane crash and the fake plane crash and all that.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. Did it make sense? Did it clarify who did the plane wreckage?
No.
And Widmore having the black box and what was the whole reason for that? And did any of that make any sense? Or
no, they never. It's not any clearer than we thought it was, as far as I can tell. I mean, there's insinuations both ways during the season. The captain has that line that we spent quite a bit of time on. That's just one of the many reasons why we're looking for Ben Linus. And when he should have said that's one of the many questions we wanted to ask Ben Linus, and that was the issue. The way he phrases it makes him say the reasons are these questions that he just asked. So anyway, where would you get 300 and whatever bodies and the resources where'd you get the resources to fake a plane crash? You know. So anyway, there was that, and then there was the evidence given by Tom to Michael that that Widmore did it.
Answering the question of where would you get the bodies and what resources would you need, here it is.
Exactly, yeah. He shows them receipts and pictures and stuff like that and says Widmore did it. And Michael spends the rest of the season saying that Widmore did it, and everyone he tells it to just laughs it off. And, of course, he dies. So that was the end of that. We never found out, It never got clarified who did it, first of all. And it also, by extension, never got clarified why they did it.
Yay.
So, yeah, I mean, what the point was, why they put it in that place rather than in some more reasonable location, it's still up in the air.
Wow.
This season does clarify a little bit, or no, maybe it was the commentary. Yeah, I think it was the commentary that clarified a little bit the idea that they explained the reason why they decided to sort of piggyback onto the official story. But it's just the obvious thing. It just almost doesn't make sense. Anyway, whatever. That's all I got.
Yeah. This was, I guess, the third thing that I groaned at writing-wise in this scene was Widmore's attempts to explain why he has Sun locked here. He says, why have I brought you here? Because you showed me no respect. I will be respected. And then she says, fair enough. And I just don't see how imprisoning someone forces them to show you respect. I thought it would have made so much more sense if he would have said, you showed me no respect, therefore I'm not going to show you any respect. Like a sort of tit-for-tat thing. Like you did this to me, I didn't like it, I'm going to do this thing to you, and you're not going to like it. There, we're even.
Yeah. I thought that's what he meant, even though...
I think that's probably what he meant, but that's not how it came off.
Yeah, that's not how he phrases it, but I feel like that's the idea.
Yeah, because he says fair enough, like, okay, we're even, but it was just weird that he says, I brought you in here because you showed me no respect. I will be respected. Like, I don't know. That was just weird to me. And then it was like, okay, that's done. Now down to business.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of literally what he says. I'll get right down to business.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what are you going to do with this scene?
I don't know. I do want to talk about Sun a little bit more, but I think I'll put it off until later.
Okay.
So next scene, we're in Ben and Jack's hotel room. Ben is watching a report about the man that Saeed killed outside of the mental institution, if you remember that, and also about the fact that Hurley escaped and is a suspect. The news doesn't know about Saeed. At the end, Ben says, "Looks like we have a change of plan," because they were going to get Hurley or whatever. Yeah. Oh, that's the end of the scene.
That's
Sorry.
the scene. All right.
Sorry. That's the scene. It was a short scene. I don't know what to do with that.
Well, first, I'm glad Ben watches the Channel 8 Action News. Otherwise, they wouldn't have known they need a change of plan. Anytime someone uses that phrase in the singular, it always stands out to me. I guess Ben only has one plan.
Yeah.
And now they have to change it. Not change of plans. Change of plan.
Change of plan.
That's weird to me.
I see.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's nothing else in this scene, I guess. Okay, let's go get him.
Was that a quote?
That's Jack's line.
Does he really say that?
I guess I'm reading it.
Okay, have to go get him.
I don't know how he says it in the show, but I just read that and it seems really funny to me.
It does, yeah.
Okay, let's go get him. It's apostrophe EM. So let's go get him.
Let's go get him.
Oh, Jack. So nothing with this scene. A little shorty.
Yeah. Okay, so the next scene is Saeed and Hurley, staying on the topic, I guess. Fresh out of the institution from the season 4 finale, as we all remember, some of us remember. They're getting fast food. So they get some fast food. And Saeed tells the lady to keep the change.
What is with that? Sorry. You know how many times in movies and TV shows people, even Hurley does it later. In the next episode, he tells the lady to keep the change.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Get your change, people. You have time.
Yeah. Is that just cumbersome for the scene?
It's just a thing. I don't know. It's definitely a movie, TV thing. And maybe it's just, obviously there's times when people buy stuff and, in a situation like this where they just give them the change. But I really think it's more of just a thing writers like to do or have characters say is keep the change because they, it works better in Hurley's situation later when he's trying to run out the door. But
yeah,
but there's so many times you'll see keep the change, keep the change. Like, all right.
Yeah, I felt the need to point it out because I thought it was weird. But, yeah, they do that all the time. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard to have them take their change, but I guess, I don't know.
He's just a nice guy. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's the point. I don't know. So what happens? So they leave, and then they pull into an apartment complex where Saeed lives, I guess. They walk up to Saeed's apartment, and while they're walking, Saeed tells Hurley that he was working for Ben. Then he tells Hurley that if he ever runs into Ben, he should do the opposite of what Ben wants him to do. Saeed, once they get to the door, Saeed notices that a piece of tape that he put there has been broken, meaning people are in there. And so he pushes Hurley aside and bursts into the apartment and starts fighting with some people that are in there. He throws one over the railing. They fight another one inside. They shoot him with this dart, and he pretends to pass out and then uses that to his advantage and, hits the guy with a pan, and then they struggle some more, and eventually he impales him on some knives that are sticking out of the dishwasher. And that's the end of that. Hurley, outside, picks up a gun that was dropped, and he looks down at the man who was pushed over the railing, and there's some people there around the body, and one of them takes out a cell phone and shoots Hurley with the gun, looking over.
Oh, it sounded like the guy got a gun and shot Hurley.
Oh.
Okay. He shoots him with his camera phone.
He shoots him with his camera phone, yeah. Hurley looking guilty, so holding a gun.
As guilty as you could possibly look in that situation.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So Hurley runs inside the apartment. Saeed's passing out now, finally, for real, from the drugs, and Hurley sort of helps Saeed walk out.
Yeah. So, the beginning part of this scene, the little banter back and forth, that was fine. The whole code name thing, I guess we don't, it was weird when he's like, I'm not taking any risks after Bentham died. You mean Locke? Yes, I mean Locke.
Yeah, it was weird.
I guess
in season 4, when Saeed goes to pick him up in the mental institution, like they talk about Bentham, and Hurley's like, "Why are you saying Bentham?" And then like Said interrupts him and won't even let him say Locke. You know, of course that's for the audience because at the time we don't know who he is.
Yeah.
They haven't revealed it yet, and now it's sort of like ho hum. Yeah, I mean Locke, because everybody knows.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like, so at this point, like they don't need to call him Bentham anymore. Like, we don't need to have that line because you just gave it away for anyone listening that Bentham is Locke. So let's not have that, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really short-lived pseudonym. They pretty much used it for like one episode, and then we found out who it was. Yeah. So the thing that I don't quite understand is Said's bit about Ben. You know, where he says, you know, if you have the misfortune of running into Ben, you know, do the opposite that he tells you to do. You know, I feel like there's a missing piece here. Like I don't quite understand. It's not clear to me why he's saying this. I mean, the latest scene between Ben and Said that we've seen is the one in The Economist where, you know, where we first learn that he's working for Ben, and you know, Ben says he has another name, and that was the end of that. So you know, it was never made clear like what whatever Said's talking about here. I mean, obviously he didn't sort of like certain aspects of doing this, but you know, you know, initially he wanted to do it. Like I don't understand what his problem with Ben is here.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like this first line of that lets us know we're definitely missing something here, and I don't, you know, obviously know what it is. And I think we should also talk about, like, you know, Said obviously isn't on the same page as the other guys who are like, we need to get back to the island.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I thought he was back in season 4. I thought he was going to, like, help out. Yeah, I figured Ben probably, you know, made him go there and get Hurley.
That's exactly what it seemed like. So I think that's what we need to talk about, or at least raise the question is, you know, who is Said running from, and who is he thinking is trying to hurt? Or I mean, obviously there are people after them.
Yeah.
But it's weird because you kind of think Said's on the same page, and then it's like, oh no, he doesn't seem to even want to deal with Ben anymore. Or maybe, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. It was kind of weird. And I feel like this line really is obviously a setup for later.
So a setup, yeah.
And maybe it's just, you know, I mean, we'll see if there's any other details about, you know, maybe Said worked for Ben longer, and then something happened and he got tricked and did something he didn't like, and so he left. But yeah, barring that, I'm going to take this line as just to be the setup, because it's exactly what. He's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird because, you know, after back and forth of can you trust Ben, Ben, can you all the time. That's probably the biggest question. Any scene Ben is in, any storyline, any character he's dealing with, it's pretty much boils down to whether you can trust Ben.
Yeah, and I think clearly from the show the answer is sometimes.
The answer is who knows.
I mean, in certain situations, yeah. In others, no. So there you go. There's your answer.
So that's your rule of thumb.
Like in general, it's who knows, because it depends. It depends on whether what he wants is aligned with what you want, and you don't know that.
And that's the thing, like, he'll probably be lying to you either way.
Yeah, he'll definitely lie to you either way.
You still might want what he wants.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. He'll even if it involves a lot of deception, it still might end up working out. Because I mean, there have been times where, you know, he's sort of you know, been helpful.
Yeah.
So, and he's obviously being helpful in this, like, going back to the island thing. I mean, at least it seems like he's being helpful.
Well, I mean, he seems like he's being helpful, and it seems like it's because he's got his own self-interest.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, once again, yeah, if what he wants is what, you know, is what you want, then it's okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like they should go along with Ben at this point. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but if I were them, I would. I mean, I feel like Ben is the best equipped of any of them to take, you know, to deal with this mission.
Now, remind me, didn't Ben say he could never come back to the island?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He certainly said that very, very clearly.
All right. That's all. I'm not going to elaborate. Just
whoever turns the wheel can never go back.
Okay. All right.
Or, no, sorry, whoever moves the island. He didn't say turns the wheel because he didn't know it was a wheel yet. But, yeah.
Whoever moves the frozen donkey wheel.
Whoever moves the island can never go back.
So we'll see if he actually goes back or not.
We will. I suspect that he will.
I think he will too. How could he not?
Yeah.
How could he want to do all this and not end up back on the island himself? So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's likely. So, yeah, I don't know if that's another throwaway bullshit thing that, you know, oh, he was just lying or whatever.
Or if in the interim he found out a way to get back, and this is what this whole plan is about.
Yeah, maybe there's that. There's only one way, but it's really hard and crazy and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing was he was saying that so that Locke wouldn't go down with him.
Yeah.
You know, so he could have been lying.
Yeah, definitely. Because that's the one thing Locke wouldn't want to hear.
Exactly, yeah. He knows Locke doesn't want to leave the island, so, yeah. That would be a flaw.
That Benjamin Linus is crafty.
He is. Too crafty by half, really.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing about this scene, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, who are these people?
Who are these people? Where do they come from?
You know, I'm wondering who they are. You know, who sent them, and what's the point? You know, what are they gonna do? Kill Saeed? Like, is that you know? I mean, is this Widmore's people, and they're going to kill Saeed because he killed some of Widmore's people, and that's it?
I don't know so much that I don't even want to talk about it.
I mean, we still don't know what happened with the Nadia situation.
Yeah, that whole thing of Saeed working for Ben and all that stuff, I just don't even know. So who these guys are? Yeah, I mean, it's maybe Widmore's people. It's maybe I guess that's all I got is Widmore's people who don't want. I don't know, because it's like, if Widmore, like, if he knew, which I don't think he does, that if he knew that these, you know, that they're trying to get back to the island, he would maybe want to not kill them and follow them or something.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's going to be, I don't know, I feel like it's going to be something out of left field. I don't know. With the guy watching Hurley, like, no one else was being watched, you know, that we know of, like, It seems it's really Hurley-centric, kind of, right? Doesn't it seem Hurley-centric?
What do you mean?
These guys after Saeed?
You think so? I guess I thought they were there for Saeed. I guess I didn't think they knew. But you're right. The guy was out there watching Hurley.
The guy was out there watching Hurley.
So that does make a case that maybe they knew where Hurley was going, and so it's about Hurley. We did have Hurley did get visited by Apothon, who's another enigma.
I forgot about. He wanted to know about the island people too.
Yeah.
Who was back on there and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's in the mix. Being someone who, I don't know, maybe could be behind this somehow.
Mm-hmm. And they were using tranquilizer darts, so they didn't want to actually kill them.
Yeah, they did have guns.
They had guns.
But they shot Saeed with the dart rather than a bullet, so it does seem like they didn't want to kill him. which I could buy.
Yeah. Speaking of guns, groan number 4 in this scene, I guess I'm counting them now.
Okay.
was when Hurley goes to pick up the gun, and I'm thinking, oh, cool. Hurley's going to grab the gun, and then he's going to, go help Saeed, as best he could. It's Hurley after all. Right. Hurley with a gun, right? But I'm like, hey, at least he's going to try. But no, he goes over to the balcony and holds the gun in his hand. He looks like the most guilty person I've ever seen in my entire life. I just imagine the director said, okay, get on the balcony with the gun and look as guilty as you possibly can for a crime you did not commit. Go. Action. It was so stupid to me. And then the guy, with the camera phone. Some of those setups that they do, they're just so, missing some finesse, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just weird to me. Why pick up the gun and then go to the balcony? If you're concerned about the guy, why wouldn't you go to the balcony first? Why would you pick? And with Saeed fighting people in the other room.
Right.
I didn't get that. I didn't either. Disconnect.
It didn't play out right. It was like those things that happen sometimes where where we already know what's going to happen, and so it just feels unnatural. It feels like they're just doing what they have to do. It just feels like he needed to get his picture taken with the gun, looking guilty.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened. But it doesn't feel in the scene like he should be doing the things he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. You're like, okay, the scene should go like this, right? But it's now they have to do these certain things. But I don't know. When he goes onto the balcony with the gun,
it's completely ridiculous. It's over the top. Man who's falsely accused.
Mhm. Totally.
I mean, we've seen that happen before, but this is. I mean, he picked up the gun of his own accord and sort of walked over to the edge where people are. He's really bringing this on himself,
Yeah, he definitely walked into it himself. I do like though. I like scenes, when the guy snaps the picture with the camera phone. I like when different sort of current, I don't know how to phrase that, but, technology or whatever, different things of the time period affects how you write a scene,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it's those because, there's scenes when, 20 years ago, a character would have to go to a payphone to make a call, but now they'll just continue the scene in the car and talk on their cell phone, I like to see scenes that are affected by how people do things differently. So
this scene probably
cool
wouldn't happen.
It would have been
15 years ago or something.
Yeah, 10 or 15 years ago, there would not have been a guy with a camera phone down there. It would have been some other way to get that to happen. So. Yeah,
they would have had to figure out. Yeah, I mean, I've seen at least one movie where the central plot point was cross telephone wires, causing someone to get a call they weren't supposed to, That's something you really don't see anymore. I think it used to be more of a problem than it is now.
The old Betsy at the operator switch, she crossed the wires.
Yeah.
She put the wire in the wrong hole, and therefore the guy got the call.
Yeah. And you hear the murder or whatever, So it's those antiquated problems, and this is the opposite of that, where it's something modern and change. Yeah, no, that's cool stuff. I like it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Good point.
All right. Good point.
I don't really have anything else to say about this scene.
Okay, me either. Although I want to say I did like that he impaled the guy on knives sticking out of a dishwasher.
I meant to mention that too. I feel like that was part of the trap or little thing that he set up. That if he's ever in a brawl, it would be nice to have these knives here as a as a weapon to use.
And what I liked about it is that I can't recall. I mean, perhaps, I mean, I haven't seen everything. I don't ever remember seeing this particular method before, and it just seems like a cool idea to me, you know, because you have all these knives sticking up, and it's just, I don't know, it's such a weird way to die. I like that.
Yeah, I've seen something similar, but yeah, it's definitely. I mean, obviously, most people would put the knives, you know, the sharp side down, handle up. But
that would be the way I would put them. But,
but if you're, you know, I feel like Saeed did that on purpose. As part
that
of
makes
his,
sense because he was obviously taking precautions. So
yeah,
it would make sense that he would do that. So yeah, nice.
You know, Saeed's still a good character. I think, you know, I feel like, you know, in this sort of present time, you know, we need to see more of him and what's going on. But he's, you know, he's still got it. He's all like, he's badass Saeed now. He's like fighting guys with guns and darts and stuff.
Yeah.
He just took out like 3 guys or something. It's crazy.
It is, yeah. No, I know. The only thing that disappointed me about Saeed is that once he gets hit with this dart, he basically asleep for
my God,
for the rest of this, you know.
It's up to Hugo to save the day.
I know. And I like that's okay. I just that there were several times where I wished I could get Saeed's reaction, you know. I wish I could have him respond to things that were going on, you know. Because I was just interested to know what he would think about these things, and it was frustrating that he was just totally out of action for almost the entire run of things.
Yeah, and he's weird now because you know he's the Saeed with you know the good logical critical thinker, but he's all jaded now, you know.
Yeah.
And he's this killer. You know, he was pissed that he was a torturer. Now he's you know killed all these guys.
Yeah.
You know, so he's all dark and interesting. It's cool, but we need to see more and less of him sleeping.
Yeah, I agree. Although I did like the way he wakes up, but you know, I don't know.
You like that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, it's ridiculous, but I did like it.
All right,
we'll get to
about
that
when we get
eventually.
There,
yeah. Don't hold your breath, though.
No, please don't.
So let's see. Did I want to say? I think that's it. Let's go to the next scene. Okay, so we're back on the island with Sawyer's group. I'm just going to call him Sawyer's group.
Don't you mean James's group?
Sorry, James' group. I don't know. I can't. Even though people are calling Hurley Hugo, I still want to call him Hurley. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on their old names. So they're walking through the jungle. Charlotte asks Miles if Widmore is looking for them. Miles says it took 20 years for him to find it the first time, so he'll start holding his breath now. They arrive at the hole where the hatch was.
Speaking of holding your breath, that was a nice... Because you just mentioned holding your breath right before that.
Oh. What?
Remember you said earlier, just like a couple seconds ago, you were like, we'll get to that later, don't hold your breath. And then now we're on the scene where Miles says, don't hold your breath.
No, you're right.
Holding your breath.
I wonder if that was subconscious. I wonder if I read ahead accidentally or something. I don't know. That's weird.
Well, I guess we'll never find out.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Yeah, that's a good quote. Okay, so then they arrive at the hole where the hatch was. Juliet suggests they change things. Sorry, that's all I wrote, but when
yeah, like what? Juliet suggests they change things. Hey guys, let's change things. Guys, I have a suggestion. Let's change. Yeah, I was waiting for you to explain what that meant.
Once I said it, I realized I was going to have to. When I was doing my little note taking, that seemed like that was enough. But I guess what I mean there is she says, hey, let's do the thing you do when you time travel sometimes, where you go back and you make sure that such and such what doesn't happen, and so they're not in the situation they're in right now. So what she suggests is I can't remember, something about like not calling the boat or something like that.
Yeah, they were saying, what if the helicopter hasn't left yet? Maybe we can stop them from ever flying to the boat.
Oh, okay. Stop the helicopter. So she just wanted to go back that far. Okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the idea that they can prevent something from happening in the future. So that's what I meant by change things.
Mm-hmm.
You might
hey
say,
guys, I got a $1 bill. Let's change this thing. Let's make some change. I got a 20. I got 3 $5 bills. Let's change things. Sorry, I'm done.
All right. Yes, that was a good note to end on. So Dan says that's not the way it works, and that whatever happened, happened. Sawyer asks how he knows that. So Dan pulls out his journal and says that
All right, continue. There's nothing funny here.
So Dan pulls out his journal and says that it contains everything he knows about the Dharma Initiative, and he's been working on his whole adult life, and that's why he's there on the island. Sawyer says, how do we stop it? And Dan says, we can't. Sawyer says, who can? That's the end of the scene.
Yeah, so one of the big things this scene, like, when Juliet was like, let's go stop the helicopter from taking off, like, it was weird to me to think that there are now, in this time frame, another set of them out there on the island, and, like, what that would mean if you came in contact with them of your own self. Like, I can't believe Lost is treading this close to that. To where, like, presumably, they could just, Sawyer could see himself and talk, like, that's just weird. That's, you don't want that to happen.
I know. They avoided that. Although, by going back to the camp, they're making it more likely. But I guess they got out of that by giving them the arrow attack.
Yeah, get out of here, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So Dan's journal, that was one of the things in season 4 that, like, was really ridiculous. Like, he kept, like, looking at the journal, and every time they cut to it, like, what it said was just so not that helpful or even detailed. Like he would. I remember there was one scene where he goes and he picks up the journal and he flips to it and he's like they're doing the secondary protocol and,
I forgot about secondary protocol.
Yeah, the secondary protocol, and he's like, this is really bad, and he turns the pages furiously, like he's really upset, and then they cut to it and it's just like a drawing of the orchid logo, and underneath it says the orchid. He rushed to his journal to open up the page to look at that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he knows what the orchid's all about, so he knows that's why that's bad. But actual what's written there is just, okay, really?
Yeah, like he opens it up like it's important, and it's just it's a drawing.
It is a drawing. Oh, it's a little drawing.
I don't know. I couldn't, whatever. And then the other thing about his journal that I think we're supposed to assume he looks at later, that it says in there, if anything goes wrong, Desmond Hume will be my constant.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that whole business? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to bring that up about the journal, since he pulls it out here, once again, to no use at all.
It's another one of those things where things come across so weird sometimes when he's like, Sawyer says, how do you know so much about this Danny boy? Which reminds me, someone pointed out on the forum that that Sawyer's back to nicknaming all the time. He does use a lot of nicknames.
I didn't even notice, but yeah.
Yeah, he's all about it. He called him Whiz Kid earlier or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He says, how do you know so much about this? And he goes, I know about this because I spent my entire adult life studying. Oh, that's what when he brings out the journal.
Mhm.
What's my point?
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember what my point is. Something about this exchange here, but now it's making sense. I don't really know.
All right.
So his journal has all this stuff about the Dharma Initiative. He knows what's happening.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. I didn't think it was about the Dharma Initiative so much as about the island. You know, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. Because I mean, I feel like the show's made clear that Dharma, you know, for whatever they knew about the island, like the island's a lot more than Dharma.
Yeah.
You know,
but I guess all he knows is about Dharma.
I guess so, yeah.
So all he knows about the island is what he's learned through Dharma.
Yeah.
Through learning about Dharma, so I don't know.
Apparently so. But that was surprising. I didn't think that's what it was about. I actually kind of thought Dharma was sort of irrelevant at this point.
Well, they keep making it relevant.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what keeps happening on Lost. Like every time I'm interested in something and I spend a long time waiting for it to matter, and then just when I have completely given up that it matters, then they bring it back, and by then I don't care anymore.
Jacob.
It's really Locke's whole story, you know, back in season 2 when Ben tells him he came for him, that seemed really cool, but then they just stalled out on that and did nothing with it for a really long time, you know. And then it got to a point where Locke is taking over for the others, and it sort of makes sense, but it's like too late. Like you should have, you know. Like I was ready for this back in season 3, and you didn't, you know. By the time they get to it, it's just like whatever. So Dharma, I was interested in Dharma a while ago. Candle and his nicknames and what he's like, but it's like now?
Yeah, it is kind of like, really, you guys are going to bring this now?
Yeah, I mean, I just resigned myself that these things weren't going to matter, and we didn't need to see more about them. And then, here it is. Okay.
Well, look at that.
Deal with it. So, yeah, I don't know. Anything else about this scene?
Yeah, I was gonna say the how the scene ended when Dan says we can't stop it, and Sawyer says then who can, and then the next scene they show Locke.
Cut the Locke.
You know. And before when they were like, is everyone accounted for? Locke, you know, and then they show Locke, but it's like I don't know if they're trying to insinuate that Locke can stop this. I mean, obviously he is sort of integral to whatever plan is going on. With Ben, I don't know. I kind of wonder if Dan, in sort of the real sort of life of the show, if Dan ever tells Sawyer who can. We don't get to see him say it. But I wonder if he ever kind of if we stayed on them and not cut to a different scene. I wonder if he answers that question or not.
Or if they just stand there looking at each other and
yeah, I don't know. And then Sawyer's like, give me your shirt again. No, okay, let me slap you again. No, okay, then let's do something else.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that was a good dramatic note. Let's just end the conversation there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things.
Yeah, I think writing presents a lot of challenges, I think. there's definitely a tension between like drama and sort of realism, and it's hard to do both a lot of times, you know. And what you need for a scene to work a lot of times is sort of kind of unworkable in a real conversation.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sort of they can go out of scenes on notes like that and never explain what happens next. And, you know.
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
You know, because I'd imagine later, you know, Sawyer could be like, can you believe who Dan said could fix this? You know, to like Juliet.
Yeah.
Or he could say, you know, he never told us who could fix this.
Yeah.
You know, like some sort of reference to the fact that Dan may or may not have ever answered that question.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling they won't even address the fact that the question was asked.
Probably not.
Ever again.
What question, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it was definitely a segue question.
Yeah.
They didn't really want to.
So speaking of segue, let's segue on over to this groaner of a scene.
What do you mean, groaner?
Well, in terms of the time travel, can't change the past, crap.
I had a different problem with this scene. Anyway, here's the scene. So who can? Over to Locke. Shot, lying below where the plane was. He sees that, because we're now in a different time period, remember, the plane is on the ground now, because you remember it fell. That was the problem, actually. That was the thing. So Locke goes over to it. He looks around, and then he sits down. Of course, he probably doesn't know what to do. A torch appears, and someone approaches. Who could it be? Locke pulls a knife, and who is it? It's Richard Alpert. Locke says, "What's happening?" And he doesn't mean, what's happening?
What's happening, Rich? What's up, buddy? Nothing, Locke. How you chilling? Dude, pretty good. Got a bullet in my leg. That's about it. Yikes.
Yeah, I just realized that what's happening. Okay. So it was not what's happening, but rather what's happening. Richard says, "Guess what? You're bleeding to death." Locke says,
He says, "Guess." He says, "Guess what?" I wish he would have said that. What's happening? Guess what, Locke? You're bleeding. Locke is like, what the fuck? I'm bleeding to death. Who knew?
But guess what wasn't the part of it? That was me. That was a little editorial comment.
Paraphrase.
But I agree. That would have been good dialogue. Locke says, "How did you know there was a bullet in my leg?" Richard says, You told me." Locke says, "I didn't." Richard says, "You will." Locke asks where Richard went. Richard says he didn't go anywhere. Locke did. Richard pulls out the bullet. Locke asks how Richard knew he was there. Richard says, "There's no time." And they have to go over a couple things. Richard says next time they see each other, he won't recognize Locke, and says to give him this, and hands him a compass, which apparently points north. Richard says the only way to save the island is to get your people back here, the ones who left. Locke has to convince them to come back. Locke says, "How?" Richard says, "You're going to have to die, John." And then we get another time shift, and it's the end of the scene. And Locke's in the same place, and the plane is back up on the cliff. Locke has the compass. Boom.
Boom. Lost.
Not even close, unfortunately.
So
Okay, so I just want to mention a little pet peeve here. This is something that comes up not only on Lost, but on like everything, everything. This, what's going on? There's no time. I don't have time to explain anything. I'm not gonna. I'm there. That doesn't matter. All that matters is that blah 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 mundane thing.
Yeah.
That really irritates me after a while. People saying this. I know it sort of makes sense plot wise, but it just always seems like excuse making to me. It always seems like they're just sort of coming up with an excuse to not tell us anything but the bare minimum that we need to know. And I also think for Locke's general story, it was really clear in season 4. Like season 4 was emblematic of like everything. Every season with Locke is like this. I think he starts off really good. I think sort of like he's got a mission. He's on the path. He's got a destiny. Whatever. He's sort of like the classic Locke that we know. And then shortly thereafter, he realizes he has no idea what to do. And so he gets frustrated, and then he becomes shitty Locke, and he stays.
I'm familiar with that Locke. And
he stays shitty Locke for pretty much the rest of the season until the very end, when someone tells him what he has to do. And then he has his mission, and then he goes on. Of course, what they tell him is the bare minimum he needs to do this particular thing. So he never really learns anything, and so the next time he's going to be just as confused as he was this time. And so anyway, this is in season 4 at the end when Ben is saying goodbye to him. He tells Locke, go to the others, go to my people, whatever he calls them, and they'll tell you what you want to know, and then they'll follow your every word. So he basically says that the others will tell you everything. And at the time, back then, I was thinking, great, Locke's finally going to learn something so that he won't be befuddled Locke, because I just get so tired of befuddled Locke. And it turns out season 5 comes on, and guess what? They were together for about a minute and a half before they disappeared. And so Locke probably couldn't have learned hardly anything. And so he's just as confused as he always is. And so he just has to sit there while people who know more than him tell him what to do for this particular situation, and he can carry that out and then get confused again. So anyway, that's my rant about Locke.
Well, that was a very good rant and a very astute observation, and I 100% agree with you, because that's how it plays out. I think it deals with the biggest problem of most characters, but particularly Locke, is the promise of the Locke that we all thought we were going to get, the mystical Locke who will follow some path or some journey and learn and grow and become this whatever we thought he was going to become, and apparently will never become. Because you're right, he keeps resetting himself. He has some sort of balance. He knows what he's going to do. He has a plan, or he doesn't have a plan, whatever makes him feel comfortable at the moment. And
yeah.
And then things happen, and he has to change, and then he's always in a new situation where then, of course, someone else has to. You're right. Someone else has to tell him what to do. I thought that this scene worked, like with your thing about people always like not enough time. Like I kind of liked how it played out, because there literally wasn't enough time.
I know.
And it was like, okay, I can't tell you anything, but yeah, I kind of liked how how Alpert delivered everything, and he was like, I hate to have to, lump this on you because it's going to be crazy and all this shit, but this, and I kind of like that that's all Locke gets is you got to bring everybody back and you're going to die by, But yeah, I do agree with it. It is annoying when it's, because usually it's a pure contrivance where it's just like, oh yeah, the audience already knows this, so I'm going to tell you that I don't have any time to tell you this again, and I'm just going to tell you this other stuff, stuff like that. But I don't know. Locke is, you're right. Like I'm trying to remember when he met up with the others, when he went back to be the king of the others in at the end of last season, did he ask them anything?
We didn't see him ask anything. I mean,
okay.
it was a really short scene, and
Yeah.
of course, immediately after the event starts, which is when the others disappear.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean,
I imagine the scene ending with him sitting down saying, "Now tell me what Smokey is," and then we cut or something. But I guess that didn't happen.
No, like Richard just says like, "Hello, John, welcome home," or something like that, and he smiles and goes over there, and the next time we see them, which is really shortly afterwards, Ben has turned the wheel, and because I mean, Ben goes down to turn the wheel immediately when Locke goes to meet the others. So, like, it's a very short amount of time.
That makes me think, like, do you think Ben knew that what was going to happen when he turned the wheel, like that the Losties would be dislodged and that the others would stay put and that Locke being in charge wouldn't necessarily matter? I'm just wondering if that's true, because it's like, the whole thing about Locke being in charge, like that was weird anyway.
It was weird.
And it was all predicated on these like little things, like, oh, now Locke is healing and Ben isn't, and like, I mean, because presumably Ben's going to come back to the island, and what, like, who's going to be in charge if Locke is resurrected or whatever?
Yeah, that was a theme in season 4, the idea that Locke was going to take over, and Ben sort of says that, like, when they go to Jacob's cabin, Ben's just like, I'm...
Oh, there was another thing, Locke heard Jacob, so that was another thing that, maybe he's special, and... Yeah, exactly, that was one of the things. Yeah, so, I mean, they've been kind of setting that up, and so it sort of worked, but I guess I don't know. I guess they didn't really want to actually have him be the leader of the others, because for whatever reason. Got them all killed.
I always suspect that Ben knows something rather than not knowing something.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he didn't know. He did say there was a thing in season 4 where Hurley said, like, why didn't you just move the island as soon as you knew the boat was there, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
This was
I think I remembered when, like, the first time Hurley has a relevant question.
Yeah.
Like, what? Hurley? Wow, look at that.
Yeah, he was hanging out with Locke and Ben, so I don't know, maybe it rubbed off or something.
He felt compelled to work a bit harder to keep up in the conversation.
Yeah, step it up a little bit, try to sort of be involved in things that matter. So it was one of those times where it felt like the writers, like, sort of covering their tracks, answering a question the audience might have at this point. And Ben just says, like, it's dangerous, it's a measure of last resort. And at the time, I found that really unconvincing. But now that I know what it actually does, it's actually more convincing. It actually works better, because it's actually kind of a big deal.
Well, apparently.
What happened. So I have to give him credit on that. Like, now that I know what it does, I buy that he didn't want to just do that right away, that he'd rather try to stop the boat.
Yeah, and considering it would have made him have to leave the island sooner and all that other stuff, so.
Yeah. Exactly. So, what about this?
So my groan about this.
Oh, your groan
is apparently in the future at some point, Locke tells Alpert, "Hey, I'm gonna get shot by Ethan in the past by the plane crash. I'm gonna need some help. Come back and help me."
You gonna get a little country when he says that?
He got a little country. I don't know why, but he got a little country. Okay, and so, so Albert's like, okay.
I love your versions of these.
I'm trying to piece it together as I go, and it's not making any sense to me. Like, like, because here's the thing, right? This goes in the category of not understanding how the time shifting's working. Is how is Locke able to, in some future point from this scene, tell Richard, like where to find him and all this? But if he makes it to that point, it should seem like his wound's going to be okay because he doesn't seem to die from it or anything. He doesn't bleed to death because he eventually gets to a point where he can tell Alfred where he is. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like it's kind of that time travel catch-22 of something something shouldn't happen based on something that doesn't happen.
Right.
If that makes sense,
Yeah.
There's no need for Locke to tell Richard to come back and get him if he doesn't really need his help, because he shouldn't need his help if he gets to the point where he can tell him to come back and get him.
Right.
It's that kind of thing, and then
it also calls into the question the idea that, that once they shift again, those events didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm wondering, how is he able to? I mean, he basically changed the past, right? Because in this,
Richard shouldn't have done that before.
And why does Richard? And what Richard is this?
Yeah,
this is obviously not the Richard where Locke is in charge, because that was very recent.
Yeah.
This is a Richard that knows about Locke, but so how is he? He somehow, that's just so weird. So now you have this Richard in the past, in this scene, who knows that in the future Locke is going to be in charge, because Locke told him, you need to come back. And, I don't even know how that even works.
Now, there's definitely an issue with Richard. We've talked a lot about Richard on the Lost Lowdown. There's an issue with his aging.
Yeah.
He was actually present shortly after Locke was born, looking exactly the same as he looks now. And now that time travel is here to stay, I'm wondering if maybe it's not an aging issue. Maybe he's time traveling, and maybe that's why he looks the same. In these various time periods. Maybe he's just moving throughout time, doing all this stuff. I mean, that really goes against the idea of, you can't change the past or whatever.
Totally.
But nonetheless, I just want to throw that out there because this Richard here strikes me as being a Richard who knows stuff.
Well, he knows he knows what's going on and how to fix it.
Yeah.
Which means that's the thing. It's where is the stream of information coming from? How does this Richard know what's going to happen in the future?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm asking you.
Oh, no, your question was exactly right.
Oh, great. 10 points for me. Can you answer it, though? And you could get 20 points.
Oh, can I answer it? No, of course not.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what, well, yeah, I don't know.
And there's another thing I want to bring up, too. Remind me.
I feel like there's something going on with him, though. I feel like somehow he knows more than he should.
He definitely knows a lot.
That there's something about him in particular, compared to Ethan or whatever, who came up, or other people. I guess I feel like he's showing up here with this specific purpose in mind. He's sort of it's sort of clear that that's what he's doing. So,
yeah, I want to know the circumstance of which he tells Locke to come back and help him. I want to see that scene play out, because I can't quite picture when that would be.
It seems like it would have to be that Locke, another shift happens. He goes in the past. He finds Richard. He tells Richard, "Go fix my gunshot wound." I don't even know how he's going to know how to tell him when to go.
Well, here's the thing. when he gives him that compass, which I love the line, by the way, what's it do? It points north.
Yeah, classic Locke.
Oh, man.
What's it do?
Yeah, I like that. Anyway,
like it just might be a magic compass.
Yeah,
it points to all of your dreams.
Like I like the difference between, you know, his point is what's the significance of this, but he just basically says, you know, what does it do? And I just, you know, I don't know, I like that. Anyway, it was weird to me when, you know, when Richard gives him the compass and says, basically, go back in time and give this to me, I'm thinking, well, then that means that at this very moment, the only reason you have that compass is because Locke gave it to you in the past.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you think about that one, my friend.
But you can't change the past.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I mean, you know, because obviously, I mean, well, potentially Richard in the past has that compass.
Yeah.
So Locke is going to have another one. So maybe so maybe that's how that works. So he wouldn't be giving it to him necessarily because there would be two potentially.
Yeah, Richard in the past should have it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, depending on when he found it.
Well,
but
yeah.
Say Richard found that compass. Got the compass a year before this scene here, but Locke is going to go back 5 years. So that means that, yeah, he is going to be getting it before he actually finds it. So there's, so.
That'll be bad, though, because it seems like then it won't have any significance. I mean, if he goes 5 years before he finds it, I mean, why would he care? It seems like it'll be better if he recognizes the compass.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it definitely should. Yeah. He definitely should have some sort of connection to it.
Yeah, I can't imagine why it matters, but.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to bring up, something about.
Well, I definitely want to bring up, you're going to have to die, John.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, exactly. I don't really know what to do with that.
I don't either. Like, what does that mean?
That's what Locke is saying.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he makes it seem like it's not that big a deal.
I know.
It's just, or sort of, yeah, like.
It's just something you can, Yeah, it makes you wonder what that means. I mean, it makes you wonder what's going to happen with Locke. It also makes you wonder how he died. It makes you wonder if it was suicide.
It makes you wonder a lot of stuff.
Because if Locke, last season I thought that Locke got killed by someone, and it certainly seemed that Saeed thought that, and certainly mysterious circumstances. But now that Richard's saying you have to die, that means Locke, probably at some point will want to die because apparently that's what he has to do.
Yeah, I mean, is it? I wonder if it's he needs to die because that'll help convince people to come back. Like, it seemed to help convince Jack.
Yeah, you're right. It did.
Which is a big get, to get Jack on board.
Yeah.
Or is it something like, the island's out of balance and you need to die and then we'll bring you back and somehow you're dead but not really, and that'll help. But, I wonder if it has something to do with that or if it's.
Is it really going to get that crazy? I mean, are they really going to be like.
Is it going to get that crazy? It's already past that crazy.
Well, there's time travel and then there's like resurrection.
Oh, yeah. I see. Well, I mean, the fact that they're keeping his body safe and all that, and apparently he's coming back too, I
agree. It seems like they're going there. It really seems like a stretch to me. The idea that he's going to come back to the island and, like, are we going to watch him, like, come back to life? I mean, this is just really weird, I think. And the other thing I think about is, because I watch 6 Feet Under, when they prepare a body, like they take out, all the stuff and they put fluid in there and like, I'm just wondering, his body was sort of prepared, I'm just wondering how that's going to play out.
I feel like it might be something more like his body coming back to the island will effectively allow him to come back. I don't know if that body will reanimate versus something else happening. The body vanishes and then Locke comes out of the cabin or something. I don't know. I'm imagining. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know if that funeral home really. I mean, it seemed like a weird place. I got to tell you, the name alone is weird.
Yeah.
So who knows if they're part of what's going on or not. So maybe they didn't take things out. I don't know.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
But I'm not really sure what they're planning to do.
The thing they've established on the show is like a body, a dead body on the island disappears, and then you see the vision or the spirit or the ghost.
That's what I was going to say. This is reminding me of Christian and all the apparitions we've seen, and if Locke is going to end up in something like that where I don't know. That's kind of what I imagine will happen. I guess
that's a weird road to go down. I'm really surprised they're doing that. To have Locke be like a Christian type character. I mean that's. I can't envision how that's going to work. I mean, it just doesn't seem like a character like that can really take part in things.
Yeah, I mean, that could just be, end of the show kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming they'll get back to the island at the end of this season.
Yeah, I would guess so. That seems like the logical end point.
So, then Locke can be all crazy in season 6 and have powers and be just as boring as he always is.
Oh, good. Yeah. All right.
So, this scene also, Richard tells Locke, change the wound every couple hours and, keep your weight off of it if you can, and the island will do the rest. It makes me think about what role the island / Jacob is playing in all of this, and if Locke is so special, would he really bleed to death, really? Like, seriously? Could the island not save him, kind of a thing?
Yeah.
If he doesn't change the dressing every couple hours, will he get an infection and die?
Yeah,
I don't know.
The island can do everything but...
the basic first aid?
Yeah, basic first aid.
And how many times has Locke been shot, by the way? I meant to mention that earlier.
How many? Yeah. I don't know. Has he been shot more than twice?
Well, Locke, Ben shot him, right?
Yeah,
and,
that was the second time I was thinking.
Didn't he get shot all the time before? I thought he got shot a whole bunch.
I don't remember him getting shot, but maybe I'm not remembering something. I remember
he's been injured a lot.
He had he had a leg problem. What was that thing in season 2 that happened where he hurt his legs? I don't even remember anymore.
I don't know.
It's been so long.
Well, all those questions and more, I'm sure, will come back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's Jacob doing in all this? What / the island, like? Does it have? Is it not able to institute any will here?
I definitely wonder about Jacob and about the island and about the spirits or the ghosts or the visions or whatever these things are. They didn't play a big role here, but there is one scene in particular that we'll get to where I really wonder what exactly how we're supposed to interpret it in terms of where the character is coming from, whether it's from a personal perspective or they're representing the island or Jacob or all three or I really don't know, because sometimes they really say contradictory things, and so it confuses me.
Well, let's move on and get there.
But whatever, we'll get there. So yeah, I mean, but it's a good question, like what Jacob's doing. How much he could just stop this on his own. I mean, we really don't know shit about Jacob at this point. I mean, he's just kind of this possibly very powerful, possibly who knows what. I mean, it's totally unclear who or what he is. So I can't imagine. I feel like they should, I feel like maybe Locke or somebody should go, try to go find his cabin in one of these episodes, and I don't know. See if that helps. It seems like Jacob should be able to like talk, independent of the time period.
Yeah. If maybe he's moving too, I don't know. Who knows?
But that's weird. Oh God, if Jacob's moving too, like, who are you? I'm not ready for that. We actually have barely even seen Jacob. Normally, like Christian said, he wasn't Jacob, and so that's still up in the air.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
speaking of things up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go back to Sawyer and his group by the hatch. Miles asks, and Juliet tells him about Desmond. Basically, what was happening in the hatch in the early days. Then we see the time shift from their point of view, the one that Locke experienced. The ground is covered up again, and then Juliet clears away some dirt, and we see the hatch is there again. So Sawyer says he's going to go to the back door to get some supplies. Dan goes after her to try to stop him. Sawyer pounds on the door. Dan says if it didn't happen, it can't happen. You can't change the past. Sawyer says, everybody I cared about blew up on your boat. I know what I can't change. Juliet suggests going back to the beach. Thanks, Juliet. Dan and Charlotte hang back, and Charlotte has a nosebleed. Dan says he left his pack and he'll stay behind and then catch up. But you better not dilly-dally. He goes to his journal and turns to a page. Not again. Then he knocks on the door of the Swan. Desmond answers with a rifle, and he's in his yellow suit to avoid the sickness. Desmond asks Dan if he's him. Dan says no. Desmond asks if he knows Dan. Dan says yes, in a way, but it doesn't matter. Dan tells Desmond he can help because the rules don't apply to him because he is special, uniquely and miraculously special. Dan tells Desmond if he got home. What? Dan tells Desmond if he got home?
Yeah, you're right. It's weird how he phrased it.
Okay, all right. That sounds bad, but okay, that's what I wrote. His name is Daniel Faraday. Everyone left behind is in danger. And to go back to Oxford and find his mother, her name is...
Oh.
Wah, wah, wah.
Guess you should have said the name first, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. That would have been easier.
My mother's name is blah, blah, blah. You need to go to Oxford to find her, and blah. And then the time shift would have happened, and it would have been some irrelevant little thing.
Yeah. Or go find blah, blah, blah. She's my... That would have been better.
That still would have been fine.
That would have been much more useful.
Save the most important thing for the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's Oh, God. Because, you know, I mean, does she have your last name even? That's not necessarily true.
I think the answer's no, considering who I think the mother is.
I have to agree. So, good luck, Desmond.
Yeah.
I don't even think she is in Oxford. So
I'm not quite sure she is.
So, have fun. Can't wait to see how that comes out. So, yeah, this is weird. This is another one of those, like, expose scenes. Like, it's just so strange to go back to the old days where Desmond's, you know, having to dress up in the yellow suit and asking if you're him. And
he didn't ask, you know, why is Daniel not in the suit? What about the sickness? You know, there was obviously no time for that, but
yeah, you're right. And he also didn't ask, you know, I guess because Dan said he wasn't him.
The snowman thing.
What did one snowman say to the
other?
other?
Man,
yeah.
I would have loved if they would have put that in there. But I guess he said no, so he didn't have to ask him.
So he didn't have to go through all that, yeah.
That'd have been a nice little thing.
It would have, yeah. Although
thanks for not giving us that, guys.
Like,
thanks.
In general, though, I mean, even though, yeah, they left that out, these episodes have quite a few references to old Lost stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They really, like, sprinkled them all throughout both episodes. So it was strange to see all this old stuff again. Okay, so, yeah, this is weird. I guess when he says yes in a way, he's referencing the constant. It seems like he could say more than that, or maybe it does matter. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it would be a big deal. I mean, Dan is the only reason that Desmond was able to recover from the condition he was having. You know, I mean, he set him on the path to.
Yeah, I think he's saying the line is, yeah, in a way, but listen, that's not important. What's important is blah, blah, blah.
Oh, not important. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's just saying right now it doesn't really matter how we know each other. Not that in general it doesn't matter, but just at this moment, like, I got to tell you this crap.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I just feel like in that situation, I would want to explain a little bit more.
He doesn't have time, my friend.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess that's the point. But
literally.
Yeah. I would just be inclined to like, hey, you know, I helped you through a huge crisis, remember?
Yeah, but he wouldn't remember.
He really should remember, though. Really should remember.
Oh, that was in his past, huh?
Yeah.
Well, but see, what's weird is, God, I mean, what's weird is that Desmond, I don't even know. Like, that Desmond hasn't, he should remember the past stuff, but you know, Desmond was also going back and forth from the future, too.
I know.
And it was really, wasn't it the future Desmond who was going back? So it's like.
No, it was actually the past Desmond who went to the future.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. It was completely ridiculous. But, yeah, that's what happened. The past Desmond consciousness went to the future. Maybe what we're supposed to think is that even though the future Desmond sort of gets his memory back, maybe the past Desmond, you know, doesn't.
Just resets to
just sort of resets.
So he doesn't remember going to Oxford?
So he doesn't remember going to Oxford, yeah.
Because if he did remember, well, see, the rule is you can't change the past, right?
Yeah.
So he shouldn't.
Although Desmond is uniquely, miraculously special. So.
Well, there we go again. You try to use the rule, and then, like, another rule comes and knocks that rule out of the way. Even to prove their own rule.
You can't break the rules unless you're Desmond. Or somebody else, whoever needs to break the rules for whatever they're doing.
Well, let's go back here. I wanted to talk about the journal, and you know, he thinks of something after he's talking to Charlotte. He's like, "I get my pack, whatever."
Yeah.
And then he thinks of something, looks in his journal, and something apparently lets him know that this might work. That he could actually, quote, change the past or bend the past or whatever he's doing here and communicate with Desmond and give him a message for the future. what the hell did he read in his journal to let him know that?
My best guess is that he read the thing I referenced earlier. If anything goes wrong, Desmond Hume will be my constant, and that if you're flipping between time periods, the only way you can stabilize yourself or whatever is by talking to someone that you knew, in both
in the
time
other
periods.
time period.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. He's not tying to. I want to buy that.
It doesn't quite
work. But it's about the mom. I feel like what I think happened is maybe he looked in the journal and because like what time period are we? Okay. So Desmond, when did Desmond get on the island?
3 years ago.
3 years from 2004.
So yeah, I guess we're talking 2001.
2001. They didn't meet until 96, right?
Yeah.
When he was at Oxford.
Yeah.
Okay, so my theory makes no sense.
Desmond was in the Army. It was during that period.
I just don't know what he could have read that let him know this would work. I thought it was something more like he realized that this was around, because I didn't remember when, what period they were in at this point. But I thought maybe he realized that that this was around the time period where he first met Desmond, so he could make this their first meeting and it would work.
Oh,
something like
Desmond
that.
Definitely met him before he got to the island.
I don't know why this. First of all, I don't know why it worked. I mean, I guess because Desmond is different. But why wouldn't it work for Sawyer? Like,
yeah.
Did he not? I guess he didn't realize that. See, something he read made him realize Desmond's different, and maybe that's because Desmond was doing the time travel thing.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, it seems like the fact that Desmond, the vague impression I get from the show is the fact that Desmond was the one who turned the key and blew up the hatch and whatever, like caused him to be I don't know, exposed to something that that caused the things that happened to him over the course of season 3 and 4, involving time travel, and Dan knows about it because he played that big role in that episode in season 4. So yeah, maybe that's the idea. Maybe he wrote down something about him, and I could sort of buy that.
Yeah. I also want to mention, I thought it was a little, I don't know what my feelings are, but the line when Juliet's like, yeah, there's this guy Desmond down there who was pushing a button every 108 minutes to save the world. Like, that's all he gets, and that's all we get from that. I don't know. I wanted some, I wanted her to say, but it was just a test.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted some more information about what she thought about that whole thing, but we didn't get that. So
yeah, that's the thing. We still don't quite know. And this, and when Hurley describes it later, makes it clear that it's still kind of up in the air what exactly the or part is. What really would have happened if both he didn't push the button and didn't do the fail-safe. That's still sort of unknown. It might not matter, but I don't think they've answered it.
No.
But yeah, the official story is that it saves the world.
Oh, yay.
Yay!
So I think that's all I have for this scene.
It also makes me wonder if there's any connection between what was going on with the swan and the orchid thing. Like the way they're presenting the time shifts is exactly the same, pretty much, as when he turned the failsafe key. And so I wonder what the relationship is between those things. It doesn't seem like turning the failsafe did anything like what the Orchid did, but nonetheless, I mean, they are using essentially the same sort of effects and stuff to show to show the two things. So I just wonder, what's supposed to be the connection?
Well, the Orchid was apparently near or on top of some sort of big ball of energy, much like the Swan Station was.
Yeah.
So the Swan Station was electromagnetic energy, and right? And then
I guess.
Well, that's what they kept saying.
Yeah, they did.
And that's all we can really say about that. And then the Orchid was, what did he say? Almost unlimited energy or something. And they're going to try to tap it to do time travel experiments, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay. Good point.
That's all I got, man. I don't know.
Good point. I just, it's just curious to me. It's just curious to me. I wonder what the deal. I mean, in general, I guess I'm saying, what's the deal with the Swan? Because it seems like the Orchid is the center of attention now. But I just wonder where the Swan fits into that. If it's just some kind of lesser version of the Orchid, or what?
Maybe. Maybe it's like, God, I can make up some really bad ideas right now. For example, maybe it's like, you have the Orchid energy chasm, whatever, wherever the energy is behind the wall or whatever, and it's sort of connected to the Swan Station's energy. So it's almost like that's where the opening of this is the Swan Station. So that's there. That's keeping it safe, potentially. Push the button, it won't explode. If you don't push the button, you need to turn the fail safe, and then this energy will dissipate, but it keeps the main energy back at the Orchid from being. See, it doesn't make any sense. I don't even know. That's the only thing I can think. I don't know how they're supposed to be connected. Yeah, I don't know how if they're supposed to be related at all.
Yeah. Another thing just occurred to me, like going back to the first scene, the drill bit melting.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that. I don't understand why it melted.
That makes me wonder because we saw Ben go up to the wheel, which was the thing they were near, and it was like Arctic in there. Like, why was that melting things? Like, that seems like the opposite of what it should have been doing. Why is it Arctic in there? What the fuck? Like, I don't understand that. And why is it melting drill bits? Like, I don't know. That's really confusing to me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said in the beginning of that, I don't really understand exactly what was going on with their drilling. Why they had like 6 holes or trying to make the 6th hole or something, and I guess that's how they were going to get through that wall is to drill holes in it, and then I don't know what.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the drill bit melted.
The other thing that I thought was strange about that scene was, the head guy was talking to Kendall, and he goes, yeah, the only way, we're following your specs, and, the only way we're going to get through this wall is if we put charges there and there, and, and then Kendall turns to him like, no, you fool, you can't do that. Like, we're doing this, this, and this, and it's just like, but you told him to go in there. Like, why are you now sort of yelling at him for wanting to do what you wanted him to do? Like, it just... Well,
I got the sense he was the guy, like, he wanted him to, I guess drill as close to his specs as possible, and now they can't get close. The guy's like, we'll just explode the rest of the way, and he's saying, no, we can't do that.
I see. Okay.
you know, versus him saying in the beginning, hey, just get there by any means possible, because obviously he doesn't want that to happen.
Yeah. Okay. But it's just, I mean, he was sort of saying not to do anymore, but I guess, you know, that what that means is what he specified is more than they should do.
Yeah, it seems like he sort of underestimated how close they could get to it or something.
Yeah, but he seems like he's chastising the guy for, like, wanting to, you know, go by his plans. It just, I don't know, it just came off weird.
Yeah, I got the sense the guy came up with the explosion thing on his own, because Candle wouldn't tell him that, I mean, obviously you don't want to explode
he came up with the explosion thing, but, you know, in general they were supposed to get in there, and he was just saying that's the way they can do it. And it just seemed unfair to sort of, you know, go off on him.
Well, I'll buy it only in the sense that communicating the fact that exploding unlimited energy is bad.
I see.
Like, under no circumstances should you, you know, not just like, nah, sorry, Foreman, that's a bad idea. It's like, no, please do not.
He just wanted to get across the severity of the...
And plus, he's sort of an ass anyway. He's sort of
he does seem like he's an asshole. I was disappointed. I wanted to like Marvin.
No, maybe you can like Wickman. Oh, wait, they're the same.
Yeah. Yeah, he does seem like an ass. I don't need a goddamn script.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the baby woke him up. He was cranky. I don't know.
Yeah.
He definitely seemed, you know, I mean, maybe it's his stress. Maybe he's a really nice guy. His wife seemed nice.
His wife did seem nice.
So.
But, I don't know. Let's just get this over with. I don't know. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. That was I should have said that an hour ago. And by an hour, I mean 3 hours.
Yeah, I think you mean more than an hour.
All right. So, Richard and Locke, anything else?
Nothing, ever.
Okay. Good. All right. So we're back. Did I already say this scene?
No.
Oh, yeah, I did. This is where, sorry, it was Desmond and Faraday. That's where we left off.
Oh,
I forgot.
We're on the last scene, right?
Yeah, we're on the last scene. So nothing else but Desmond and Faraday. That's what I should have said.
Yeah.
Okay. Desmond wakes up. So right after Dan says her name is, then we see Desmond wake up. Penny's in bed with him. Desmond says, I was on the island. Penny says, you've been off the island for 3 years. You're safe now. Way to spell. It was just a dream. Desmond says it wasn't a dream. It was a memory. Desmond goes up to the deck of the boat they're apparently on.
What?
What the fuck? Desmond says, we're leaving. Penny says, where? Desmond says, wait for it, Oxford.
Lost. Dun, dun, dun. They're going to Oxford. Holy crap.
What the fuck?
I can't believe it, man. Of all places,
shit.
Oxford. Can you imagine the craziness that's going to happen when they get to Oxford?
There?
I hope they visit the school library, because it's going to be insane. Action-packed, drama-filled library.
In a library.
This season, Lost goes to a place you never thought possible. The Oxford University Library. Gotta check that book out.
No!
Check that already. Oh, the promos write themselves. Can't find it. Check the card catalog.
There's no more book-filled place then. The Oxford Library.
Cut to the librarian. I'm sorry, are you students of this university? No!
No!
Obstacles abound as they try to check out a book. Oh, man.
A ragtag group of kids tries to infiltrate.
We're going to read us some books today, guys.
On a voyage of discovery.
One man learns the truth of his destiny. But will it change him forever?
Oh, God. So, yeah, how much can we say about this scene?
I think we've already said more than we need to.
One thing I could say about it is it reveals that Desmond and Penny, I guess they dropped off or maybe this isn't the same boat. I don't even know, but they're just like sailing around on a boat.
Yeah, this is a sailboat. This isn't like where we left them off.
Yeah,
on
you're
the
right.
other
It's
thing.
It's a different boat. So they went.
No, I think they're just like, Penny's got money. I think they're just like, losting around the world and just doing whatever the hell they want to do.
Do you think they're afraid to like not? Do you think they're sort of evading? I mean,
I don't really think they're hiding.
There was that line that Jack said. I mean, we talked about it, where he goes, "Don't let them find you, Desmond."
Mm-hmm.
Which I still don't know what the fuck Jack is talking about there.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if they're on the run somehow. And the other thing I want to bring up is, in season 4 we find out that in Ben's episode we find out that apparently he tells Widmore he's gonna kill Penny.
Mm-hmm.
So that's up in the air. I don't know.
That's true.
That's supposed to be in the mix somehow. How's
he gonna kill Penny when he's trying to get his ass back to the island?
I know. I don't know how that's gonna fit into what we've seen, but I just want to throw that in there because that seems like they should do something with that if they're gonna throw that out there. Although maybe they won't. You never know.
They could be hiding. They could be in hiding, but I kind of didn't get the sense they were, but they could be.
Yeah, it made me wonder. It's of course not clear. I mean, they don't really say we're in hiding or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I don't know. I did think it was kind of odd they were on a boat.
I got the sense, I didn't think it was odd only because, something relaxing, to do vacation-wise. Doesn't he sail or something?
Oh, he's a boatman. He was doing a race around the world.
Yeah, he was in a solo race, not a solar race.
Wow, there's an old thing. Oh,
yeah, bringing that one back.
Solar race. Forgot about that. The good old days.
Mhm.
That boat he got from Libby.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, that's the next episode. Okay.
Yeah, that's the next episode.
I thought we missed that. I'm like, how do we not talk about that reference?
No, we'll talk about it. It's coming. All right, so I guess that's the end of this one.
All right.
So, woo!
Yay! One down, one to go.
Desmond's going to Oxford. Ugh. I'm sure we'll get a lot more on that in episode 2.
Oh, I'm sure. The next episode. Yeah, Justin, what do you think is going to happen in episode 2? I think we're gonna see. Yeah, Desmond's gonna go and meet up with Dan's mom. Right?
Yeah.
Next episode.
He's gonna get to Oxford. Yeah, he's gonna meet up with Dan's mom, and we're gonna find out all kinds of stuff. And yeah, he's gonna do something. And
next episode, we'll see when Locke tells Richard where to find him.
Yeah,
the whole compass thing.
Yeah, that'll be completely solved. Yeah, can't wait. Good stuff. Wow.
Next on Lost.
Man, they're off to a great start. I can't wait to see what they do. What are they gonna do?
I'm buying it. Good job, buddy.
What?
I said I'm buying it. You're really selling it pretty well.
Thank you.